Hello, hello, hello. How we all doing, everybody? I am so sorry about that. I was like, I wonder why nobody's actually talking about the thing that's on screen right now. That's so weird. Everybody's like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm right here. And then I was like, uh-oh, I think something happened. Whoopsie. I am a professional. Welcome to the stream. Happy Sunday. How was y'all's weekend? And how are you guys enjoying the summer? I don't know about y'all, but on the East Coast, we had a bit of a heat wave, more last weekend, I guess, and like a little at the beginning of the week. Reached 35 last weekend, I think it was. Which is crazy in May, because sometimes, in Nova Scotia, like, it will snow in May. So it was weird that it was so hot in May, but I'm wearing shorts now. And I will be wearing shorts every dang day until October. I hate pants. I hate them so much. I love the summer. So excited. Yeah, it's gotten a little colder. It's about average for where I am right now. It's like 14 degrees out, which is pretty good. I start wearing my shorts around there, like 14, 15 degrees. And for my fellow alt folks that are like, you can't dress alt in the summer, that feel when alt and it's summer and you don't know how to dress yourself, don't be a coward. You can do it. I believe in you. I wish I was if I was camera facing, I could post some of my outfits of the day, but I think I do pretty good in summer for alt stuff. In the winter, I just wear like old band t-shirts and hoodies and stuff, and like skinny jeans and my stupid combat boots, which I guess looks cool, but I feel like I can be more expressive in the summer. So anyhow, so the elephant in the room is demanding we address the elephant in the room. Address me. So we are starting off strong, I would say, with a video from the theorizer called Why Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is Truly Sickening. And you'll see that I got a few minutes in. We'll restart it, of course. I think I'm gonna turn the music off. You'll also notice I've got this little bingo card here, and I probably won't keep it on screen. Like, I'll probably, like, hide it so that we can see the thing. But if you would like to play bingo with me, you can find a link in the description down below to Bingo Baker. I made a bingo game, and you can generate your own card. I think there's, like, around 30 entries total, so not everybody will have the same card. Some people have entries that I don't. And I don't think we're going to make a new card for every video. I think we're just going to keep going until we fill a decent amount of slots up, and then maybe we'll reset. We'll see. We'll kind of see how it goes. This is my first time playing bingo on stream. I think it's a little bit more, interesting than just regular tier lists and stuff. So like, yeah, shout out to Jack's Films, who kind of has been using this, and just a way to gamify React streams. We all have a little bit of something to do. So everybody, open your bingo baker sheet and mark your free space. Hold on. I just want to make sure if I'm gonna have to boink. Boink. Like I said, I don't think I'm gonna be keeping this up all the time, but like I'll bring it back every now and then. So if I miss calling something out, you guys can go ahead. If you're unsure what something means, please ask for clarification. Like, let me take a peek-see at my entries, and I'll kind of explain what a couple of them mean. So we've got like, this is just a fan fiction, for example. So that's just like a theory that is more of a fan fiction than a theory. Like they're making up like a story and a narrative. Sometimes they'll be blatant about it where they'll be like, yeah, this is basically just a fan fiction. This is my but like I find that a lot of guys, especially in fandom, they don't want to call what they're doing a fanfic, so they'll make a quote unquote theory video instead. It's just like because fanfics girly or they're gay or whatever, but yeah, it's just basically like this doesn't really have anything to do with the material that in the story that's presented in the show. You are just making a fan fiction. There's nothing wrong with fan fiction. I write fan fiction. I read fan fiction. I'm a millennial nerd that's been on the internet since I was like 11. Well, younger than that, but I was like participating in fandom spaces since I was 11. So, drug trip. So it's like, oh man, the only way that this could be true is if the character was on acid. That type of thing, or like this person must have been high. It was all a dream. Very similar. It's like the story was a dream. Uh Brings up real world events for no reason. That one's pretty obvious. What are some of the ones that are a little bit more? Oh, transvestigating / gay investigating. So this is not like, this is an allegory for being trans, or I think that this character is gay because I think that he's in a relationship with that character, or I think this character is a lesbian because of such and such. It's when somebody is like, this character walks in this specific way, or their nose is this shape, or their shoulders are broad, or this character hates men, therefore they're trans or they're gay. Not actually using like the story, or it's a little bit different than one that will come to later, and it's different than headcanon. But it's basically just using homophobic and transphobic tropes in order to create a theory on somebody's identity when it's like it has nothing to do with any sort of storytelling. It's gross. Back in the day, for example, Matt Pat made a video on pyro, and there was some of that going on. Rousey gets it a little bit from under or Deltarune. Let's see. Adult theory for a piece of media made for kids. That's probably going to be this video. Let's see. A lot of these are pretty explanatory. We've got reheated leftovers, so it's like it's either like something that like was really active in the theory community, or like a very old theory, or something that was talked about a lot in the past and they're revisiting to basically do the exact same thing a few years later. So that's reheated leftovers. Just revisiting something, and it's not really like a retrospective or like a reflection. It's just you're doing the same thing that you were doing back in that time, and you're just reheating the leftovers to kind of probably, I assume, to recapture some of the views you had back when said thing was relevant. Stealth shipping, which is, you're kind of, this isn't about like characters that are canonically together, or it's your ship, or it's like if somebody comes out and says like I think that such and such character is gay and is in love with this character and here's why, that's not really stealth shipping. It wouldn't really call attention to the two characters being a couple. They would just kind of slip it in there with a bunch of other crap. Do But yeah, I think that most of these are pretty, like, theory bait media is like, it's clearly the game or the show was created and releases content in a way that is supposed to get channels like Game Theory and other theory channels making content about them to use that as free marketing. Obvious tech limitation used as evidence, like the fog in Silent Hills, people looking too far into that when it's just there you know, because of the draw distance of a PS1, you know. Uh we have some good ones in there, like actually interesting and compelling theory. I think that's one of the few good ones in there. But yes. Schrodinger's parody. Oh, there we go. Actually, that's very on that note, let's get to this video. So this video is made by the Theorizer. A lot of people claim that he's a satire account, but it's clear that to an extent he does want to be taken seriously. But like whenever anybody criticizes him, or one of his fans see him being criticized, it's like, oh, it's just satire, bro. Because like satire has to be like, if it gets to the point where it's indistinguishable from what it's satirizing, it's a Schrodinger satire. So, like I said, I watched the first couple of minutes of this when I thought I was streaming, so I do kind of know what's going to happen in the first 2 minutes. You can probably go ahead and if you have adult theory for a piece of media made for kids, go ahead and click that one off. There you go. And I'm gonna turn this off, and I'm gonna still fill it out. But yeah, if you guys find one that I feel fail to call out, just mention it in chat. And if you have a suggestion of a video for us to look at, mention it in chat by the title. I'm more likely to see it if you super chat it, obviously. I'm obviously biased there, but alright, we're gonna get started. And this is gonna be a cold open. Yes, this is the beginning of the video. No, I did not skip ahead. I don't think that he cut anything out. So, yeah. It just starts like this.
Mayor Shelburne is the first link. He has lots of big plans, you see. When he starts off the movie, he's a small little mayor in a small little sardine-like body in a tiny town. He craves more. He spends the first bit of the movie manipulating baby Brent, calling him a son, but turns to Flint Lockwood.
Imagine drawing and animating a scene this sinister looking.
When that machine starts running food.
Good lord.
He eats. He devours more and more and more and becomes morbidly obese, but also world famous as he renames the town and invites the world to come check it out. He's gotten bigger in every way, as the tourists now say.
That is one big mayor.
Okay, so a couple of things. I think that setting this theory aside for a second, I was somewhat of a fat ass myself. I think it's a little fat phobic to present the metaphor that they're presenting, and that's what's happening here. So if you have ignoring themes and story for a technical theory, go ahead and mark that one off. because he's, you know, why is he so fat? That's so weird. He must have done something. That's about what we're going to get into here. But while I disagree about the choice to use fatness as a metaphor for greed and getting power hungry and corruption, I think, like I said, I think that's very fat phobic. That is what they're doing. That is the intention of the creators, is they're using a visual metaphor of being overweight and being morbidly obese to show that the mayor has become corrupt and he's become so greedy that it's become self-destructive. You know, that's I can't believe that in 2026 I'm talking about the themes and metaphors of fucking Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Of all things, that's what we're talking about. But that is the intention behind this metaphor. So, just putting that out there, that his fatness is a metaphor. It's not supposed to mean much beyond, like, look how corrupt and self-destructive he's become. He's so greedy he hasn't realized that it's unhealthy to be fat or whatever.
It would seem as though his goal of being larger was achieved, right? Well, no. And the answer is just beyond anything you can imagine. I'm already recovering from a cold. I don't even imagine I'll have my voice by the end of this. This lunatic keeps going and almost destroys the world with his food orders and then just leaves and gets lost at sea. And he still can't stop eating. What's wrong with him? He wasn't this dumb when the movie started. Desperate, but not like this. Well, here's the truth. When you look a little closer, you can start to see patterns, answers. I set my sights on his cousin. Cousin, you ask?
Answers. Let me see. I feel like that's a square, isn't it? Let me pull up my thing. Not really. There was like a solves blank, but there's no like answers one, so
Who the heck is that? Well, when Mayor Shelburne is about to unveil that Sardine Land, we learn that Sam Sparks and Manny were sent by one of their news network's executives. This executive approaches them and says he needs them to go out to a random island as a debt to his cousin.
Ooh, also, if you have over-analyzing comedic elements, because they're kind of like, you know, him being fat is kind of a joke, and the whole, like, he just keeps eating, and then he just, like, fucking, like, face plants into a hot dog, that's supposed to be funny. It's not supposed to be taken seriously, but, yeah. If you have over-analyzing comedic element, go ahead and click that one. Yes, if you would like to join my Discord, please join my Patreon. It's as little as $1 a month. You only have to join it the 1 month. It's a little baby gate to keep people from making multiple accounts to get in and that sort of thing. So if you would love to be in our Discord, you can find a link in the description down below to my Patreon and join it for as little as $1 a month. Make sure that your Discord account is linked to your Patreon account as well, because it should let you join automatically. Just send me a DM over Patreon or what have you if for some reason you're having some difficulties, and I'll see what I can do.
Cousin, then, of course, is Mayor Shelburne, who looks fairly similar to him, and while unveiling his spectacle, talks about how he managed to sneak some press coverage. So, these two are cousins. Now see, take a look at this. We have a taller, more successful cousin, and a shorter, less successful mayor.
Now, this is something that I didn't catch before, so I think that he's right on this one, that these two are supposed to be cousins. It makes sense to me. I never noticed it. It's more like a hidden detail, perhaps. I wouldn't call it an Easter egg because it's not referencing something. I just never really thought about it, and I don't think it's super consequential, but yeah.
Shelburne. They have the sort of relationship that incurs debt, and they surround themselves with the same sorts of desperate people. The mayor brags about spending the town's budget without consulting anyone. He's boastful and craves success. The cousin is kind of dismissive, but still successful and an executive. So this family is power hungry, and Mayor Shelburne wants to become big to one-up the cousin who is more.
Okay, if you have this is just a fan fiction, mark that off, because we are making a fan fiction about the cousin that we have no evidence for. And hello, new folks.
Than he
Welcome,
is.
welcome.
This whole family seems to have father issues as well, which the mayor uses to try and manipulate both Brent and Flint. All of this makes him a little bit more sympathetic, but it doesn't answer why he basically loses his mind after the food weather starts. Nobody gains this many 100 pounds in a single month.
Yeah, see, that's
Nobody, except Mayor Shelburne, apparently.
Overanalyzing
they do make sure
comedic
to
element.
very clearly state the time scale of things. It is one single month. Only a superhuman could undergo that sort of metabolism, but then it hit me. The whole plot is basically explaining it to us. The food is mutated. The food is doing this, not because he's just eating constantly, but because he's eating so much of this food in particular. It operates differently in his digestive system, and he allows it to. All of the townsfolk are insane when they eat this stuff.
Do you think this is treating the text as a secret? Like the whole, like, the food is mutated, and so... I mean, I thought that was pretty obvious. Turning background character into an OC? Yeah. Turning background character into OC, absolutely. So this is what I have for my bingo card so far. We're getting a lot of them. What was the one that I said? Yeah, treating the text as a secret. I mean, I guess we don't know for sure that it's... I'll leave that one for now. I think that one's debatable.
Just look at the kids. But he's the figurehead of the island. He runs the show. He has to be big. And so he embraces the insanity that comes along with...
Soylent Green isn't people in this case, you're not... Okay, I'm gonna say yes, actually treating the text as a secret. Yeah, I think Raccoon pointing that out kind of was like, yeah.
With this. Remember, he breaks into the lab and constantly overloads the machine. He's like an insane mouthpiece for the machine itself, mutated in the worst way possible to the point of coughing up the sheer volume that he shoves inside and gulps more aggressively than anyone ever should. It's tragic, but he has the short end of the stick to begin with. He's been placed in charge of a small town in the middle of nowhere, selling failed sardines to failed people and... Wait. Why? His cousin's back on the mainland, but he's stuck out here? How the hell is this town? Okay, hold on, let's zoom out for a second, bringing us to the next piece of this whole conspiracy, Swallow Falls itself. This town, from what we see, is quite isolated. Seriously, take a look at this. It's out in the middle of nowhere, underneath the A in Atlantic Ocean on a map. It's a pretty developed American town, but it's so far from the mainland, and if Mayor Shelburne wants to be big and famous, then why would he settle for this town? Does he have some insider knowledge? Is he stuck here? Why does he stay? They say the town was famous for its sardines, but what's weird is that they eat damn near only sardines. They don't even have other food, they just starve themselves and eat what little is around them. I mean, the mayor may have been eager for sardine success, but it failed, so what exactly is the missing puzzle piece? What, or rather who, is really running this place? To discover the answer, I watched through the movie all over again, and then watched through its sequel. If you've seen...
What are we fucking talking about? What are we talking about right now? What the hell? Oh, yeah, also Mark Schrodinger's parody if you have it. For sure. What are we talking about? Point. I feel like this is such stream of consciousness. How does this guy have over 1 million subscribers?
it, you'll recall that they leave the island for a while and come back to find that the food has turned into a whole Garden of Eden, and it's being industrialized by the guy they left to clean it up. So, dear viewers, the answer to who's running this should be obvious. Mayor Shelburne gets lost at sea, and in comes Chester V. This man is world famous. He's the villain of the sequel. He is Flint Lockwood's childhood idol, a Bill Nye sort of figure on TV, but he innovates and controls much of the outside world too, like a next-generation Steve Jobs. His most important focus is the special food bars that he makes and sells to the world.
I don't think that Chester V existed during Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 1. I don't even think he was mentioned. Let's do some research. Cloudy with Meatballs. Okay. Is there a wiki, I wonder? There probably is. There is. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.fandom. Shout out to if you're in the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs fandom. My god. But get the hell out of here. Okay. Characters. Chester V. Freaking ads. Should I get uBlocker? Okay. Yeah, it looks like he was conceived specifically for the second one. So I'm guessing that he wasn't even conceptualized or mentioned in the first movie. So I don't like it when they do that.
And the second one begins, Chester comes in and claims that the United Nations consulted him to clean up the food mess across the world. But that's not the whole story. You see, this man isn't the cleanup crew. If you've seen the movie, you know he's secretly evil, of course, and here to relocate the citizens to California while he collects Flint's machine for evil purposes. Stop right there. Few questions. How did this man show up with such perfect timing? Why would the UN allow him to come here and not somewhere with a ton of casualties? How does he even know the machine survived? How does he already know how it works and have a kill code and an evil plan? And most importantly, how, if he is at all under jurisdiction of the United Nations, does he have the authority and secrecy to industrialize the island with an evil laboratory?
Okay, first, I don't think it's that deep. I think that maybe there's just, and also like this. If Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 1 is a, they're both kind of, I guess, metaphors and critiques about consumerism. So it makes sense that a venture capitalist kind of a guy, like. When was this fucking released? 2024. Bro. In 2024, we already been knowing that this world is like come on, this isn't new language. The world is controlled by a few billionaires. It's an oligarchy. The Western world is an oligarchy at this point. And we've known that. We've been knowing that. So like, how did this major corporation come in and industrialize this small island? Who gave him permission? That's the point. That's the joke. Come on, man.
Yes, this is the plot of the sequel. Yes, he's evil. And the answer to all my questions is yes. I'm fairly certain this man, who owns, feeds, and runs much of the world, has been influencing Swallow Falls this entire time. Oh, viewers, this puzzle is clicking rapidly. See, here we have an isolated island with a bizarre controlled sardine dilemma. According to Flint,
this is also very much as that's like a problem that nobody ever thought needed to be solved. But I guess I don't know if you're solving it, but
world just suddenly realized that sardines are super gross, but who influences the public perception of food? Why, the master of food bars himself, Chester V. It's the whole point. The food bars end up being the whole point of the sequel. Chester comes to the island to steal the machine, create food animals, and crush them into his bars because they taste better. So if Chester is running this whole thing, it makes sense. The mayor was being manipulated by Chester.
Okay. Again, I think we're like overanalyzing details that are meant to be like really easy to grasp metaphors for kids. Like, when did this movie come out again? (2009). Wow. So I wonder if there was something that happened in the late 2000s that had to do with capitalism and a bunch of people that were like masters of a very specific industry suddenly not being able to make any money in that industry. I wonder if there was any sort of event that this might have been a reference to. Nah, let's talk about how sickening the cannibal incest in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is, because it couldn't be about anything else. It couldn't be about anything else. No. Couldn't possibly be about anything else. Yeah. Sure. My grippers are always out, so I grab things with them. They are for bearing down on branches so that I don't fall off of them or something. I don't know. Is there an ignoring political allegory slot? No, I think not specifically political allegory, but there is like an ignoring the themes and story for a technical theory. I don't think I have it, but yeah, ignoring the themes and story for a technical theory. I think you could probably throw that on there. Anyway.
Who I'm sure promised big things for Mr. Shelburne.
I am a gremlin,
Chester,
thanks for
who
noticing.
Runs science divisions, government operations, the food industry, and all manner of technological advancement. Chester, the only one with the means, power, and reasons to own Swallow Falls from the get-go. But why? Why control all of this? Why set all this up? To what end? How does this complete our puzzle? Well, we can figure out.
Okay, but how could Chester possibly predict that Fran Lockwood would invent a machine that makes food from nothing, basically? Like how could he possibly predict that?
What his ultimate goal was if we analyze the result. He wanted his food bars to taste better. So how does that connect to the sardines of Swallow Falls? Well, I mean, Flint created the machine, which created the food that Chester needed, but how could he possibly influence
Yeah, exactly.
that?
Please answer.
Oh, wait. Flint only had the desire to generate food from thin air because his town was stuck with the sardines that we established Chester V has control over. So what am I saying? I am saying that Chester V built a town on a dying industry just so he could change the narrative and crash them, forcing them to innovate. This is exactly what happened. Don't believe me? Well, the only other food we saw in Swallow Falls was the food bars we see Flint eating, which Chester promotes endlessly on his show. He's trying to spur innovation from children who are under pressure in one colossal, isolated island experiment. He owns it all, and Mayor Shelburne gets benefits, such as the ability to rapidly enter Flint's lab at will, Flint screaming, "How'd you get in here?" to no answer, as he types in codes that he has no business knowing. Chester is in control. Always was. And looking closer, Flint Lockwood obviously showed the greatest promise among all the Swallow Falls children, but how much evidence is there to suggest that he actually became Chester's main focus for all those years? Well, Flint's obviously the protagonist, but he's also the target of bullies like Baby Brent and Earl the policeman. They hone in and ostracize him. The mayor sends Earl and Brent after Flint fairly consistently. Brent even makes a point of entering the Lockwoods' tackle shop out of nowhere just to taunt Flint of all people on the day Sardine.
Where are we going? Like, can we, like, okay. Reminder that this is the thumbnail. How are we getting... What's happening? Where does the cannibal incest come in?
Land's opening. Mayor Shelburne, being under the authority of Chester, would also explain how Chester knows which manipulation tactics to use against Earl and Brent, repeatedly calling them out as bullies, always using police tape against Earl, knowing of Earl's danger senses, and having such information as Flint's father issues, iterated down through the mayor's father issues right into Earl's manipulation against Flint to create the ice cream snow day. Don't believe me? Well, the mayor uses Flint's dad to manipulate him too. Shocker. Also, notice how the characters take no time at all in changing their opinions of Flint, even though they've presumably hated him for years, unless they've only been ordered to hate him by Mayor.
Again, this is another, like... It's not only is it a trope for an underappreciated genius to be bullied and then finally, like, get success, like that whole like revenge of the nerds type narrative, like, it's playing into that a little bit and breaking down how that's kind of also very toxic. I would say this movie is doing this idea that one day, if you're super smart, all of the people that were mean to you are suddenly going to love you, but like, what does that actually mean? Like, is that actually a valid way, you know? Uh, if you've got Cinema Sins tier nitpicking, check that one off too.
Mayor Shelburne, and therefore Chester. You know, obviously none of these people have direct contact with Chester, just Mayor Shelburne, but the mayor does do as he's told.
This is just a fan fiction.
Even. I'm betting him and his wife are ex-special ops agents or some shit. Same
What?
goes for the jack of all trades himself, immortal cameraman Manny, who was brought into the fray by Mayor Shelburne's cousin, who is, yes, also Chester's puppet. Manny records everything, even when it's not asked of him, and is also the first to spot the duality of Chester's company logo. The sequel ends with the three teaming up against Chester, now puppets without strings. It's as if everyone knows just a little bit more than they let on, sort of like how Sam Sparks is actually super smart, or how these puzzle pieces are clicking in plain sight. Speaking of which, this second piece that we're still on is obviously very large, but it's very important.
What
to unlock
puzzle
the dark side.
pieces?
And you know, there are plenty of good characters in Flint's life. I think his dad is pretty clueless and innocent, but many are not so nice. And I do think Chester himself intervenes from a safe distance. I mean, is it any coincidence that Flint creates a monkey thought translator shortly after Barb starts appearing on Chester V's TV program? No. Flint himself even says the truth, staring us down in plain sight.
It was like Chester V was speaking directly to me.
Because he was. This psychopathic madman masquerading as Bill Nye the Science...
No. Oh my god. Again, this is another very blatant metaphor of people using celebrity status to take advantage over young fans, and like elders in like people that are like seniors in businesses often prop themselves up on like the backs of their juniors who are doing all of the work. Like this is
Guy still can't
this
help
is
but reveal his true nature, though. He tells them all watching, you most certainly will never be me. He can't keep his narcissism down. He knows it's targeted. He knows he's setting this up. He's limiting their potential, if ever so slightly. He's so manipulative that I can't help but feel he puts everything in place to achieve what happens in the first movie, creating his kill code so far in
don't
advance.
meet your
And here's a
heroes,
question.
exactly.
How on earth did the machine suddenly become a rocket that has the ability to float in the atmosphere? This makes no sense. It was never designed with any ability to...
It's a machine that creates food from nothing. A lot of this doesn't make sense.
levitate. It was only after Flint strapped it to the town's power station. The station that, yes, Chester would be controlling, as he pits mayor against cousin and sets up food, weather as a grand promotional publicity stunt, employing the Weather Network cousin for news coverage and mutation and manipulation, and the mayor's excessive pressing insanity, and the fact that there are literal meteorological diagrams on his food bar calculations. Why? People, this is planned. And Barb hates what it's all become.
No, it's not planned. Oh my god. I think that was just science-y. It's just supposed to be oh god, it's supposed to be random science diagrams. It's not that deep.
Coming. She constantly slams Sam Sparks in meteorology. Don't believe me? Don't believe the excessive meddling? Well, the mayor has to get his high-interest loans from somewhere, and Buddy in at the 11th hour comes to collect. He needed a scapegoat, and all the storyboards, hypotheticals, commercials, and plans are in the very same 2D style of Chester's science diagrams. So, dear viewers, as we zoom further and further into the farce that is Flint Lockwood's life, we get more of the picture and come closer to the biggest culprit, the final puzzle piece, the dastardly one who spurs Flint's worst impulses and annihilates him from the inside of his very soul. Chester is the one pressing him from a safe distance, but the one who encourages him through trial and tribulation, through danger and disaster, is actually his late mother, Fran. She's just at the beginning of the movie, and she is the only one to press him. She buys him posters of all his heroes, and Flint's constant failures mean nothing. She keeps him going. She gets him the lab coat, and her influence is there long after she dies, through both films, lingering over everything.
I'm sorry that I'm just like, I'm staring. I don't know what to say. Again, what are we talking about? I feel like we haven't really made a point. It's like, what have we said in this theory so far? That the mayor has a cousin in the news network and is greedy and power hungry, and Chester has been behind everything all along. Okay. Like that's all we've said so far, and then just grasping at like the tiniest straws to try and prove that. That's the only thing we have right now. Yeah, it's me when I'm trying to meet the word count of an essay I'm writing for school.
More direct sense, too. Flint's dad is a counterbalance, and she is the only character left for the puzzle.
I'm imagining Krim staring at a screen like fucking Homelander in the cinema. That's exactly what's happening.
So if she's pushing Flint this hard, why? Who is she? What is her goal? Is she just, a loving mother? Or is there something more here?
I'm scared.
Flint's dad owns.
I'm scared again because of this. I'm afraid.
What was at one time a fairly successful fishing shop in a fairly successful fishing town. Maybe she made a deal to get them more money? No, that's not it. She named her son a pun. Flint Lockwood.
Oh, okay.
Wood, almost in the name of fame. She was dead set on his success and his genius. The connection is direct, explicit, intentional. If she's linked, in this case, it would have to be directly to Chester himself then.
I don't
We
even
get
know how to
one
do this
scene
thing.
of her,
Say
and
that.
there isn't much to analyze, only one depiction. And dear people, I'm on the right track because damn it all to hell, she's wearing a prototype of Chester V's logo.
What are you talking about, mate? What the fuck are you talking about? Okay, let's see his reasoning.
Go. Shit. In the television show Chester V produced, we don't even see one hint of his orange hexagonal flowers. It's his new thing. The future's here. The whole fixation with live core, the food bars, this logo that struck immense fear into the food animals everywhere. But he doesn't even have it until after she does. After she dies. How has nobody ever caught this?
Oh, it's Flint Lockwood. He's not named after Flintlock Pistol. Birthday 1986. So I'm gonna take that as true. So let's say 19. Yeah, so he would have been. Okay, so you know. You know you know how we like love Y2K right now? Like Y2K is really big. So in the 90s, what was like really fashionable as like the vintage year was the 70s. Floral print shirt. So like the 70s and 60s were really big. So I'm wondering. See, this what this is going back to the actual. I mean, like you kind of have something like this, which is sort of like 70s ish, like riffing on 70s stuff like that. But like orange mod flower pattern. Like I don't know. I just think that it's just a regular fucking floral pattern. Like there's only so many ways. Like look, this flower right here looks very similar to it. Uh, is it just that it's a orange flower?
His aesthetic is absent from everything except her. Immediately after Flint watches the show, we catch a flashback of her bestowing the lab coat to him. Flint wasn't just randomly the center of the experiment. The reason he became the focus later on is because he was the only one directly influenced by a member of Chester V's team. She loved her son and wanted him to become the solution to humanity. She pressed, and it gave her delight in knowing her son would be the brilliant savior. And then she disappears right after. This is around.
Let's see. The fuck is Jim Lockwood? Oh, right. How many cloudy with a chance of meatballs? Okay, there's just 2. But there's like a bunch of... There's a TV series? Oh, it's American Canadian. Probably animated in Canada. That's kind of funny. Let's see. Occupation mother. So she made him the white lab coat. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. Fran originally had a bigger role in earlier versions of the story. Yeah. Also, if I'm going to overanalyze things about, about the series, this lab coat is not lab safe. And if she was a scientist, she this is not up to code. You're some OSHA violations going on here. I don't think this would pass the sniff test in a real lab. Lab coats are made of a material that, like, this is too homemade looking. You know what I mean? I don't think this would actually provide the protection that wearing a lab coat does. Just saying. Character is secretly evil. I don't think so, because it's not saying that the mom was evil, just that she wanted her son to be successful.
Around the time that Chester's aesthetic changes, he catches wind of her deleterious meddling and kills her to take her ideas and boastfully plaster his organization with her progress, while begrudgingly accepting that Flint is the best chance for innovation. He turns her ideas evil and shits on her legacy. This is why he hates Flint and tries turning his friends on him long after he needs to. Oh no, I'm getting angry, I'm losing my voice. Chester's at the point where he could innovate food bars himself, but he's spiteful and he wants to annihilate the legacy of the business partner who flew too close to the sun. He brings Flint to his headquarters just to mock him and pretend like he's important by bestowing his dream position to someone just like him. It's no coincidence that the position went to a man named Flintley, who has an unruly mop of hair and is from an island. It's a means of torment. Fran Lockwood's influence persists through everything, and even the machine is constructed with her jug and her colander. Chester killing his lab partner pressure cooks Flint double time. But Chester's not stupid. He's spiteful, and she was smart too. So, let me ask, what other scientists do we get to see, which Chester shows some begrudging respect yet aberrant disdain for? Someone who's stuck with him, someone who betrays him to save Flint, someone under his control and confused and conflicted, yet autonomous and extremely intelligent. The ape that started off basic but became insanely mature between decades, right on schedule. Flint's mother is the unified field theorist who Chester V ripped the brain out of and crammed into Barb. That's it!
I I don't know what to say. Take back my earlier comment about worrying that this was at risk of punching down. Hey, he has 1.3 million subs. I have 3,000. I think that he can take it.
It's what they talk about. This is why he lies to her about his plans. This is why she turns on him and joins the gang. She doesn't have the whole brain. It's not all her. It's just what's left of her. Barb has what's left of his mother's brain. She can't help but be spurred by her maternal impulses and true nature. And she was set to tour Flint herself. Coincidence? No. It's the ultimate insult. Barb is unknowingly Flint Lockwood's dead mother, or at least what's left of her, and it was through her continued
So is that the theory?
influence and being betrayed by Chester that she managed to complete her son's destiny into becoming the anti-Thinquanaut. Okay, so we've almost unlocked the sickening shit, and my voice is damn near gone already. You know what
I
else
wish it would
sucks?
go
I've recorded this
faster.
about 4 times because I keep forgetting to click the button. Okay, so far we've got the mayor very likely comes from a family of desperate power grabbers. One being his cousin at the Weather Network. He undergoes drastic physical changes because the machine has mutated food.
Yeah,
And
what's
this
the
whole time,
cannibal
he's been
incest
scheming,
coming
as
in?
Years ago, to achieve his goals of becoming a big mayor, he was manipulated by Chester into running a fake little town. It's all an experiment to pressure cook the youth into innovating Chester's food bars for him. And ultimately that happens. With time, they particularly hone in on
Wait,
Flint.
hold on. I want to check something. What are these shapes on his thing? Because, like, if they're trying... Because, like, I could kind of see if they were trying to be, like... The little shapes here are the same as what's on the mom's shirt. Let's see if I can find a higher res image. Art. This is fan art. Here we go. Even this, it's not... Because it's not a they're light bulbs. They're not petals of a flower. They're more... Yeah, they're like these round light bulb shapes with these little tags kind of set up in a honeycomb pattern. And then, Fran Lockwood. What the fuck? Yeah, I mean, I guess there's 6, but that's just a natural... There's 6 of them, but that's just like a natural... Yeah, I don't... The only thing that's similar is that it's orange. And, like, okay. Let's also look at, what is it, Tim Lockwood? I think. Yeah. Nope, didn't mean to do that. Why happy birthday, Tim Lockwood? No. You got, like, a blue kind of color. So, okay. Let's actually talk about the color theory. And we've got Chester V, and we've got Fran. So we're going to take a little detour. Let's make a bit of an analysis of our own, okay? So both of these people are people that have supported Flynn. Like, so this... His mother was his first supporter, and she's wearing orange, and is associated with the color orange. That's what her shirt is. And then we get Chester V, who is also wearing orange. You could even maybe, if you wanted to, draw comparisons to the shapes of his vest with the shapes of the petals, okay? Let's assume, for the sake of argument, that this was intentional. Do you think it is more likely that this is a visual callback to Fran, who is associated with orange and has, if you want to call it that, similar shapes on her shirt, to be, this is someone that served as a parental figure for Flint to project on in the absence of his mother, because nobody else really understand. Like, we were even let's see, there's even a quote here. Fran's absence creates a rooting interest for Flint. If his mom loves him, then there must be something there to love. But if she's the only one who really gets him and we take her away, then he is truly in an underdog scenario. And that head of story, Chris Pearn. So he doesn't really have anyone that believes in him anymore as an adult, like, parental figure. So along comes Chester V. I think you guys should be able to see that. Yeah, that's fine. So along comes Chester V and kind of manipulates his way into being that for Flynn, right? Do you think that is more likely, or do you think that there is like an entire backstory to Fran being a scientist that Chester stole her? You know what I mean? Like, okay, sure, I'll grant that there might be a connection, and it is valid to analyze that connection from a storytelling standpoint. They both serve as parental figures to Flint that encourage his scientific mind. And Chester takes advantage of Flint's thirst for that sort of acceptance and validation from a parent, because, like, Tim loves him, but he doesn't really get him. And, for people that have parents that love them but don't get them, you might be able to relate. Being understood by your parent feels a lot different than just being loved and, like, I don't really get it. My mom is gay, as I've mentioned before, and so we connect a lot on the aspect of us both being queer and, like, what it means to, like, grow up queer in a rural community. Like, and we understand and we talk about that a lot. We can have a lot of discussions that I could never really have with my dad or any of my other family members because they don't really get it. Um so that's something that I value, and I do notice a difference, and I do know how good that feels. And before I came out to her, I feel like she didn't understand me. I feel like, I felt like, who's gonna get me? This experience that I'm having is so different, and I'm weird, and I'm a freak. But being able to be understood by your parent, again, is very reassuring. And so obviously, she left a void that Chester tried to fill, and that was him being manipulative. Don't you think that's more likely? I'm not saying that Chester on purpose wore orange to manipulate. That's just a little storytelling detail to us, the viewers, for us to make that visual connection, perhaps. Anyway. Yes, it also contrasts with Flint's real dad, who was highly critical but loving of his son and associated with blue, which are complementary colors. Exactly. And you could also say that orange and blue go together because she wears orange and her husband wears blue. If you want to talk about color theory in stories. Uh, Are they even flowers? It looks like the inside of an orange. I think they're supposed to be flowers because he brings this up as well. Mom's colander. It has go back a little bit. We are at 1749.
Her Carlin through everything.
See, this is her glassware, her colander. This is a lot less of an abstract flower, so I definitely think it's supposed to be a flower. Go back to 17. Down there. Anyway, thank you. Yes, I think I was cooking a little bit. I don't think ultimately at the end of the day it's that big of a deal. I mean, it's literally just the text. I think it probably was a little bit intentional, but I don't think you're missing out. I don't think you need to realize you need that visual kind of identifier to be pointed out to realize that Chester is trying to take on a parental role for Flint. I don't think that's a detail that you necessarily, it's not a secret.
Particularly hone in on Flint Lockwood, and everyone is controlled by authorities like the mayor, all leading back up to Chester. Chester chose Flint because Flint's mother was his business partner. He gets jealous of Flint's innovations and kills her, using her unified field theory to extract her mind and stick her intelligent brain inside of his orangutan to power it up. He then tries destroying Flint's legacy out of raw hatred in the sequel before he dies. And now, the crazy shit. Ladies and gentlemen, this puzzle is endless, much like a recursive primate turducken.
What the
and let's
fuck?
be clear, there is a fair possibility
fuck
that
was
Chester could
that?
actually be
Huh?
the crazy shit. Ladies and gentlemen, this puzzle is endless, much like a
I don't like
recursive
that
primate
face.
turducken. And let's be clear, there is a fair
I hate
possibility
faces
that
like
Chester
that.
could actually be Flint's dad, if all this is the case. I mean, it does work genetically about as well as Tim Lockwood does, and interestingly, Sardine Boy himself, Eye of the Prize, father issues, fits the genetic description of Tim Lockwood's biological child as well, but
Okay, what?
that's definitely for another day. People, this is the part where the puzzle goes dark. We've only covered the light side, of course. The soft
the fuck?
side. Get ready.
Oh
to
boy, here
rotate
we
90
go.
degrees into a complex dimension beyond your imagination. A plane of suffering, untold shock, and appalling consequences. The darker side of this moon is so batshit psychotic, it'll have you squealing on the floor like a skinned piglet. I was going to wait, but I cannot. Barb is an amnesiac animal who idolizes the man who powered her up. There's a bonus scene at the end of the second movie where Barb offers to get coffee with Steve and implies that they start dating. Hold up, hold up, hold up. Stop, wait. First, these two are totally different species, but that pales in comparison to the fact that she is also, human? I wish I didn't.
She's not, though. You are begging the question, sir. I should have put in some logical fallacies in there, too. Into the bingo, but maybe next time, if we do this again.
Have to think about these things, but here we are. I think Chester has normalized crossbreeding to increase population statistics, and I think he's on the threshold of world domination.
It's not that deep. They're both monkeys, and it's supposed to be funny. It's okay.
Holy fuck. Okay, hold up. Okay, it would make sense, especially if he's dated Flint's mom like I presumed. And what's this? Flint's monkey thought translator works on his dad? What is this movie implying? Whenever I think about these
So did you guys know that humans are monkeys? Why wouldn't it work on a human if it works on monkeys? An orangutan, okay. The little, like, because I'm pretty sure it also works on the little monkey, right? So that, okay. I'm overanalyzing it right now because it's not that deep, but if we were going to overanalyze it, orangutans are more closely related to humans than they are to the little, what the fuck is the little fucking guy? I don't remember what he is. Is it Manny? No, Manny's the camera guy. Character Flint Lockwood. Steve. Vervet. Is Beam. Vervet. It's an old world monkey. Monkey evolutionary tree. Beep, 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 beep. So, here we go. Old world monkey. So, okay, for those of you that don't know about how the nest egg evolution goes. So once something is a monkey, like these guys are monkeys, where if you're a monkey way down here, then you will always be a monkey. Right? You don't stop being a monkey. So the last common ancestors of monkeys and apes lived around 25 million years ago, but apes are still monkeys. Okay? Because, yeah, anyway. If these are monkeys and these are monkeys, or like these are prosimians, I guess. Anyway, the point is that apes are monkeys, okay? Because it nests the same way that like mammals are animals and animals are vertebrates, or vertebrates are animals. Yeah, sorry. Vertebrates are animals, mammals are vertebrates. Like you don't stop being something once you're in that tree, you just get more specific. So, orangutan right here. We are on the same branch as an orangutan, which I believe Barb is supposed to be. And then old world monkeys are like, when you go into these little kind of chunks like this, it's more and more and more related. So yes, we are both great apes. So we are more closely related to an orangutan than orangutan is to old world monkeys, which what Steve is. He's a vervet, which is an old world monkey. Okay? So if it's going to work on Barb, and I believe that is kind of the point, is that it works on monkeys. Humans are also monkeys. So if it would work on Barb, it would also work. If it would work on Barb and work on Steve, it would work on humans. Like, why wouldn't it? There's no reason why it wouldn't. If we're going to be overanalyzing things. So do not fucking actually me about monkeys. I'll fucking come for you, dude. Anyway.
Things, I hope and pray that they won't recklessly traumatize me. Do I ever get what I want? Just more pain.
I believe capuchins are also old world monkey. New world monkeys. My bad. Yeah, because if they're from, like... Yeah. Yeah, because they're in Americans. Yeah, exactly. So if they're in America, they're going to be New World monkeys. If they're in, like, Africa and other, or Eurasia, they are going to be Old World monkeys. But apparently the species-level taxonomy of this subfamily remains highly controversial, and alternative treatments than the one listed below have been suggested. So yeah. So yeah, monkeys are a little bit odd to classify. We're still doing that. But fact of the matter is, if it's a monkey, it's a monkey. Like, anything that's in that area. Like, primates are monkeys, apes are monkeys. They're all monkeys. But anyway.
Barb decks herself out with glitter, gloss, makeup, all sorts of attractive human characteristics.
It's because she's supposed to look like that, like, sort of, if you ever worked in an office, you know the type. Like, she, the kind of the chubby gal that has, like, all the glitzy makeup and this, like, super long nails, tip tapping. Like, she's a secretary. Like, that, she's an assistant. She's like a hyper girly, like secretary kind of assistant type of gal that's a little bit like pink and spread. Maybe they have like a little pictures of like kittens and shit on their desk. We all know the type. Their background is a cat or something. They're always sending you cat memes.
Very, very specific about being referred to as an ape and not just some monkey, which is a lesser being to her. I can't help but feel like it's something in the coffee. I mean, it's everything to these employees. They're addicted, and she wants to give some to Steve at the end as well. Don't believe this ties back? Well, dear viewer, I'm sorry to shatter your fragile innocence, but when Barb tours Flint and Steve into Chester's headquarters, his employees tell us.
Again, it is another joke about how if you're working in an office like this, or like whatever, in a corporate position, like you're barely getting any sleep and you're like addicted to caffeine. Like that's we're taking a silly joke way too seriously.
That's all we need to know.
Hot. Not too bad yourself, monkey.
I'm too innocent for this.
Oh my god.
Humans are too innocent for this. You're too innocent for this. Why does this exist? But the bigger question is, to what end? He's promoting this to make himself feel better? No, there's a goal, of course. Well, people seem to take any relationship they can get, which is, obviously it's not with animals, but there is a sort of reflection of society in there. What I think Chester is evolving everything so as to maintain a state of overpopulation that is not only less intelligent, but more docile and controllable. Is there evidence that this world has more people in it? Yes, of course there is. It's absolutely f***ing everywhere. In this bizarre hybrid town, we can see that there are a ghastly, unspeakable, whopping 62 trillion terminals. This would iterate the world population out to a minimum of 560 quadrillion people. Look. Population out to a minimum of 560 quadrillion people. Look at that population density behind the docks. Chester owns everything. It's why he has the relocation means. His facility encompasses the entire underground of the city. The city is even known for being his HQ. They say it. Look at it all. People. It's real. They damn near have to build cities underground at this point.
I mean, like, again, like, we are just taking a background gags and visual metaphors and, like hyperbole way too seriously, my dude.
Which brings me to the kicker. What do you do with the disposable masses? It's the whole plot of the...
Oh my god, Soylent Green is people! Oh my god, it's coming back to us. Good job, Raccoon, for bringing that up earlier.
These films.
Oh my god.
Food. It's the food bars. He needs living livestock. I was hesitant, but it's true, ladies and gentlemen, it's true. It simply is. There's no other purpose for the excessive crossbreeding, and as Chester lowers the gang into his blender, he has no qualms, but is in fact enthusiastic.
Food bars? You're going to turn them into food bars?
Yes.
And what's his fate? Chomp. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is a prequel to Soylent Green, and this man is a stone cold.
Okay, I think we have one for... There is Connected Universe. I don't know if that's, I think there's a crossover one. No. Yeah, if you want to mark off Connected Universe, go for it. Oh, God.
Old sadistic psychopath. I have every reason to believe that he could have even been killed and replaced by his clones at this point, but no one would even know. I mean, they're all rubbery, apathetic, robotic, ghostly fake, and his hair has changed, and all the other holograms are smart enough to play chess, brainstorm, and apparently they think they can carry him. Dear viewers, this is sickening me to the raw fucking nerve. Additionally, it should be noted that there does exist a spin-off show which is supposed to be a prequel.
Oh, this looks cute.
If you've seen even one episode of it, you know full well that the whole thing breaks the fucking universe's continuity. Sam Sparks shows up in Swallow Falls as a teenager, the mayor's a werewolf, Manny even lives there, it's whack. They vaguely try filling in holes regarding Flint later meeting Sam for the first time, but none of it adds up. He haphazardly says he'll erase their memory so they can meet him all over again, but it's a cop-out and nothing really makes sense. More importantly, that in particular solves none of the other colossal gaping plot holes contained within the entire premise of the show. The retconning here borders on reprehensible. For those who've sat through it, to my knowledge, there are equally as many pieces of evidence that prove my theories today as well as disprove them in the show, but that equalization doesn't even matter because, again, it's openly non-canon, and it's created by a bunch of completely different people who have no connection to the films, but comment on that matter if you've seen it, and it serves good to do so. If you aren't subscribed, do it now, please. It's very important to me that I hit 1 million after all this trauma. If you've already done that, all I can ask is that you please join my Patreon if you want access to my Discord or early viewing of my upcoming theories, Total Drama, Matilda, any more niche topic you may request there. I'll do those, and I'll give you shout-outs. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need therapy, because the robot holograms are going to eat us all, and I am disgusted. They are just like the machine that gained sentience and created an Eden with its very own strawberry-flavored Jesus Christ. I mean, Chester's using that machine to mutate the population with his food. We're all going to turn out like Mayor Shelburne. I don't even know what to say. Flint's mom knew he'd usher in the next generation of life, but it was sickening, and this woman is a true mastermind.
Where's the incest? like, thank God it didn't go there, but like, what? Huh? I'm still lost where the insert part comes in. Yeah. I mean, they kind of brought up that, like, imagine making a harmless kid film about food raining from the sky, and you go to online to see reviews for it, and you stumble across this video. Yeah, so I guess there was no incest. I do not have a specific docket. I specifically said earlier in the stream, if people would like to suggest a video, please do so. So we could absolutely look at more theorizer videos, but I would also like to look at some other channels. So like, okay, I'm gonna make a poll. Start a poll. Another theorizer video or something else. Theorizer. We'll go game theory. And then Super Carlin Brothers. We'll go, yeah, that's good. Start poll. SpongeBob skin theory video. Oh, that one's a good one. Don't want to watch the Mort videos, I'll be honest. Fair enough. The real incest was the friends we made along the way, I guess, but that sounds like a bad fan goop. When did T-Call come out? 2023. So yeah, I think in 2024 it was a big, yeah. Okay, I'll give it another couple of, no, you can keep your cards. You can keep your cards. I don't think anybody's gotten bingo yet. We can keep going. Alright, I'm gonna stop the vote. I do have cards. If you would like to play Theory Bingo with us, you can find the link in the description down below to a Bingo Baker card. And you just click play. You will be joining it because if you're joining in with us late, I guess you're gonna have missed some of the past, but missed some of the ones we already did, but I think that's okay. It's just for fun. So, we watched the pyro video. Oh god. Okay. This is 13 years old. Oh my god. Okay. This is a classic.
Only two things are known for sure about the mysterious pyro. It sets things on fire and it doesn't speak. It's a fearsome, inscrutable, on-fire Frankenstein of a man. If he even is a man.
Let's do the pyro video and then maybe let's do the FNAF video, because this one's pretty short because this was back when, yeah, when YouTube was optimized more for videos that were around 10 minutes long.
Only two things, Valve? Get ready to add to that list.
Also, the whole, if he even is a man, is not supposed to imply that he's a woman. It's supposed to imply that he might be something, you know, something else, like some sort of monster. That's the joke. That's the joke!
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, the show that takes geek culture and makes it even nerdier by applying a heaping helping of science. So I grew up on consoles, and without friends. Making a multiplayer PC game like Team Fortress 2 something I didn't have too much cause to play when it was first released. But now, thanks to your suggestions to make an episode about it, here we are, talking about it, playing it, and loving it. So thanks for introducing me to yet another game that will successfully keep me from finally finishing Dragon Age Origins. Now for those unfamiliar
So dated.
with TF2 like I was, it's a fun, fast-paced action game built around various classes. The medic, the spy,
Wait,
the
wait,
devilman,
hold
etc.
on.
But one
Hold on. Where we go? We're at 128. Okay, I wanted to see if there was, like, red circles or anything.
the medic, the spy, the demo man, etc. But one class in particular has been the centerpiece of a mystery that has only strengthened over the last 6 years. The Pyro. And who, or what, is behind that mask of his. Or hers. The first piece of evidence that got people questioning was an out-of-place purse that appeared in the Pyro's locker. Clearly, if this masked man was indeed a man, he wouldn't be carrying around a pink handbag, right? That's when speculation started to roll in. It's a
Yeah, alright. Got transvestigating / gay investigating on... I don't have it on mine, unfortunately. But if you have transvestigating or gay investigating on your bingo card, mark it off. Good lord. Oh, also, Mark, the theory is just wrong for the one that we had, for the video that we had before. Anyway, let's keep going.
man because the voice actor is a man. It's a girl because look at that pose. It's a guy because look at that pose. Mixed signals came from every direction. In-game text saying that you should give her a try. Interviews with the designers using inconsistent...
I think it was referring to, like, a gun, because why don't you give her a try? Like, I think that's what it meant when... Anyway.
Gender pronouns, marketing videos having the characters call the Pyro a he.
He's not here, is he?
But transcripts for the same video using the word she. Oh, and let's not forget Pyroland, a sugar-coated rainbow fantasy set to the tune of Do You Believe in Magic, in which the pyro gleefully skips
Again, I
around
don't-
while the
I
lovin'
think it's a
spoonfuls
joke,
sing about the
dude.
magic in a young girl's heart. Then the designers go and add another layer to the conspiracy by hiding a female gender symbol in the cotton candy clouds. In short, the internet has been collectively chasing its tails as Valve purposely misdirects everyone to keep this mystery going. But I say no more. As the Nancy Drew of gaming, we're ending the speculation today. Call it MatPat in the case of the perplexing pyro, but we're unmasking this masked thing so that we can all move on and Valve can finally release TF3, or Half-Life 3, or Portal 3, or all three. First, let's talk about the existing evidence, if it can be
This
called
is so...
that. The argument that, oh, the character is voiced by a man, means nothing. That would mean practically
This is so
every character from
dated.
South Park would also be a man because they're voiced by the same two guys. Same goes for Miss Piggy. Oh, and by that same logic, Ash Ketchum, Bart Simpson, Gohan, and Popeye would all be girls. And while I do question Ash's inability to close the deal with Misty and the
He's 10. Ash is 10. Did we just fucking... Huh? Oh my god. I forgot how fucking weird and homophobic Matt used to be.
painstaking hairstyles of Bart and Gohan.
What the
Popeye?
fuck?
Come on, it's Popeye! The only thing manlier would be a fighter jet made out of biceps. And regarding the purse, let's face it, we're living in the post-Queer Eye for the Straight Guy world, friends. A place in which manscaping, man purses, and the knowledge that a Homer Simpson t-shirt should never be worn with jean shorts gives you a distinct evolutionary advantage. If the pyro wants to carry around a bedazzled daisy clutch, that's the pyro's choice. But the second our favorite flame-spewing she-male admits to knowing it,
Matthew Patrick. Come on, dude. Like, even back then. Come on. Ugh. I'm fucking shook. I forgot that he said that. Oh my god. You can't say that, Matthew. Bad. Little spanking for Matthew. I forgot how badly this aged.
it's called a clutch. Oh, then we can start to draw conclusions. In short, all evidence up to this point has been based on
Okay. What the fuck? Matthew?
stereotype. I'm removing that entirely from the equation and instead looking at the indisputable facts, the pyro's body and behavior, the basis
We really are investigating Pyro.
of
Okay,
my
let's
argument,
go.
sexual dimorphisms.
I don't know if I'm ready for this.
Sexual
Let's go.
dimorphism is the scientific term for physical differences between males and females of a species. Many extreme examples exist. Peacocks versus peahens, for instance. So, what is a man, other than a miserable little pile of secrets?
So human beings do not really have much sexual dimorphism. Across the animal kingdom, we are probably one of the animals with the least amount of sexual dimorphism. There are a couple that are related really only to hormones. And that's why gender transition is so successful. So, welcome to class, kids. So, what are some of the sexually dimorphic things between males and females? Okay, so couple things. The sex is bimodal distribution, and that's not just for humans. That's just with everything. There can be things that fall between. It's a bimodal distribution. There are two ends, and most members of the species will tend to drift towards either end, but it is a gradient, and you will find features that go in any part of that. However, what are some actually exclusive traits of males that females don't have in the human species, and vice versa? We're talking about categorically traits that males have that females don't have. Okay? So for example, in chimpanzees, larger canines. For peacocks, peahens are white and brown. Peacocks are bright blue colors, and they have the tails. That's really big examples of sexual dimorphism. For human beings, oh, and also I don't think, I would have to double check, but I don't think. No, actually, no, I'm certain. I'm certain this isn't the case because it's tied to genes, like color and stuff is tied to genes, not to hormones. So, if you give, for example, a peahen, if you were to inject it with testosterone somehow, it would not start growing blue feathers. Oh, welcome, Anthony. Grab a card from the description and join us. So if you injected like a peahen with testosterone, it would not turn blue, right? So you could argue if that's actual sexual dimorphism. However, when it comes to humans, if you were to inject somebody assigned female at birth that was previously thought to be female, if you want to say it that way, if somebody that was female, if you inject them with testosterone, they will start having masculine traits and vice versa. And I am talking purely, it's difficult to talk about while using inclusive language, but I'm trying my best here as a trans person who is intersex themselves. So there are a couple things that are linked to hormones, but it's almost entirely hormonal for human beings. There are no specific traits that are like, it's not like you will only find female humans, and only female humans have blonde hair and male humans have brown hair. Like, that's not true. Nothing like teeth, and even things like skeletal structure. If you were to introduce a different hormone early enough in a child's life, they would grow to have those hormones. Like, none of the things that are different between males and females of the human species are tied to the XY chromosome, unlike with some other species. Right? And like, that does play a factor into sexual dimorphism, but it's notable that this doesn't really apply to humans. And the few things that a fully grown human, even if they were to change hormonally, like it can be the shape of their vocal cords. So when you reach maturity, males, typically people assigned male at birth, typically will have hard vocal cords, and they'll be rotated from, let's when your voice drops, it's because your vocal cords have rotated. And for adult people that were assigned female at birth, their vocal cords are typically soft and they haven't rotated. Okay? So if you introduce testosterone to someone that was assigned female at birth, if they're fully grown, what will happen is that their vocal cords will harden, But because they're no longer growing, because, you know, things get locked in place more as you get older, they don't rotate. So that's why my voice sounds the way it does. That's why all trans guys, their voice kind of has a similar quality to my own, sometimes called tranny voice. On the other end of things, if you're assigned male at birth and you grow to adulthood and your vocal cords have hardened and rotated, they can soften if you no longer have testosterone in your system. Not only that, but you can push your voice up to a higher register by speaking in your head. In falsetto, you're basically speaking in falsetto, but you can't unrotate your vocal cords. You can get surgery to kind of create a sound that sounds more similar to somebody that was assigned female at birth. Um, but typically speaking, it won't unrotate. So that's, for example, something that is really difficult to change. Same with, and here's the thing. I was about to start talking about size and things like shoulder width and hip, but that is such a grading. You can have people that are 100% like perisex cisgender men who are smaller and more slimmer and have a smaller frame than perisex cisgender women. That happens all the time. It's you know, so categorically humans are not very sexually dimorphic at all, right? So bringing up things like birds and stuff when talking about dimorphism, we're kind of doing a bit of a Mott and Bailey, I suppose you could say, and we're relying on a little bit of gender essentialism here, because, like, yes, of course, there's sexual dimorphism between peacocks and peahens, but there isn't really with humans, you know? Yeah, exactly. Like, even, like, I was talking about this with somebody the other day. Like, did you know that transgender men can grow prostate tissue? It's because it's the same gland regardless of what layout you have. Same with most things in your, like, you know, down there in your bits. It's all the same tissue. It's just in a different configuration. So trans men can grow prostate tissue after being on testosterone for a couple years. But you know, it is regardless of your assigned sex at birth, regardless of what hormones you're on, it's the same gland, the same tissue, but it will like take on a different texture and a different size depending on your hormone level. Same with your chest. Like, everybody's born with nipples, you know, everybody's born with chest tissue, but if you have an estrogen dominant system, you typically will have larger breasts. But also, men can get gynecomastia. Like, it's, you know. Do you think when Matt Pat eventually runs for office, his opposition is going to pull a quote from vids like this, or the boob one for the smear campaigns? I don't know, dude. I have no idea. I want to have my voice be lighter. Typically, for if you have a deeper, lower, rougher voice, I don't want to get too far into this because, like, it's not my expertise and we're kind of going way out into the weeds. But typically what you want to do is you want to speak in falsetto. So if you've ever sung in falsetto, and you'll notice that, like, sometimes when you sing in your high notes, there's almost like a jump that your voice does. If you're assigned female at birth and have an estrogen dominant system, and you always have, you wouldn't notice this because if your vocal cords are soft, it's a transition. It transitions nice and smooth. If they're hardened, and I could say this because I noticed the difference because I sing and have been singing my entire life, and once I started transitioning, I did notice that, like, oh, my voice is different and the way I get to high notes is different. So if you are have a voice that is on the lower range because your vocal cords are hardened, you'll notice that when you try to sing up higher, there's like this jump. And you can kind of sing up high to a certain point, and then there's like a block of notes that you just can't hit, and then above that you can start hitting them again, but your voice is kind of really loud and squeaky. I can't really do it right now, but like your voice gets real I'm too thirsty to I need to get in more Fresca. But like your voice gets really loud and you're talking in your head and it sounds a little quieter and lispy. And it's because you're pushing your voice up into a falsetto. And what that's doing is that you are squeezing your vocal cords together. And the high pitched sound is like basically like it's the same principle of a whistle, right? It's you're forcing air through a really tight space. So it's it's creating more pressure, it's higher pitched. That is also why if you have to go into falsetto to reach those specific notes, you might find it's harder to control your volume. But of course, you can reach what you want with vocal training. That's the whole entire point of vocal training. It's so you have more control over your voice and you can put it in the range that you would like it to. And you can control the volume, and you can also importantly do it without hurting yourself. I would suggest being very careful. I'm not so sure about going up, but I know going down, if you aren't doing it in a healthy manner, you can create nodules on your vocal cords, and that can actually make it difficult to use proper technique. It can make it painful, and it can actually eventually make it impossible to reach the range that you want to. So I would suggest taking vocal training. It's best if you're able to do that like with a professional, but there's also courses online. But even if you can't find a trans specific vocal trainer, and there's plenty of them out there, like going into like choir groups and singing groups, that might also be a way for you to get access to vocal training. But anyway, my pronouns are he and it if you're feeling funky. My Fluttershy impression. See, I used to have, before I did YouTube, like ages ago, I actually have some YouTube videos on this channel that are just privated. They're forward facing, so I don't know if I want to ever unprivate them, but it was documenting some of my early transition stuff back when we did vlogs. But I unlisted all of them years ago. But my voice used to be very high pitched. I only started doing YouTube because I stopped hating my voice. Anyway, I'm gonna play because we're only 4.5 minutes in, and I kind of went on a yap session, but let's go.
Well, aside from the obvious, men tend to be taller, have more hair, and have bigger Adam's apples, while women tend to...
That's not sexual okay. Specifically, genitalia aren't really counted in sexual dimorphism. They are primary sexual characteristics. Sexual dimorphism is looking at secondary sexual characteristics, so it's not immediately involved within the purpose of reproduction. I'm nitpicking this guy, but there is some misinformation going on, so I feel that's okay.
Men tend to be taller, have more hair, and have bigger Adam's apples, while women tend to live longer, have larger digestive organs, and resist heat better.
And again, this is a bimodal distribution, and it will change based on your hormone levels and other traits. So also, women have chest hair, women have body hair, and it oh boy. This is also very like white centric. But anyway.
While that stuff's all well and good, it doesn't do much for identifying someone who's covered from head to toe in a flame-retardant suit. For us, the answer actually lies in the finger. No, not that one. That one. Actually, those two. The relative length of the index finger compared to that of the ring finger can...
This is just debunked science, by the way.
Actually tell you whether someone is a guy or a girl. This is called the digit ratio theory, and it's...
I'm pretty sure it is anyway. Alright, so I pulled up prenatal androgen. And it's very maligned. Yeah, so this is maligned. I could go more into detail, but like this is a highly controversial theory. It's very maligned and it's imperfect. So
all affected by how much testosterone you're exposed to in the womb, meaning that men
okay,
who
I
get
will.
drenched in
Okay,
the
listen. So this came out in 2013. I have my misgivings about MatPat. But like, I'm going to cut him a little bit of slack. This was literally released 13 years ago, like last month. So I'm gonna give him. People have done worse 13 years ago than this. The slur drop is probably my biggest issue, but
stuff before birth tend to have longer ring fingers than index fingers. Women, on the other hand, have fingers that are a similar length. Wait, let me guess. You just stopped to check your hands, didn't you? Loyal theorists, if you need to check your fingers to tell me what team you're batting for, my friend, you have much bigger issues to grapple with.
okay.
Than the pyro's sex. But if I can help you on your quest for self-discovery, I gladly accept the task. Anyways, shocking revelations about what's in your pants aside, looking at
Matt, that's you should no bad. I'm not gonna replay that bit, but I did not like what was just flashed across my screen. Ew.
the pyro while he's performing the director's vision stance, we can compare finger lengths. Notice that the second and fourth fingers are extremely similar. To contrast, look at the soldier's fingers. Clearly his ring finger is significantly longer than his index finger. He's a man's man and was thus exposed to lots of testosterone.
Oh
thus,
my god.
based on the sexual dimorphism of finger length, we can conclude the pyro is, once and for all, a female, right? Then why is there still so much time left in this video? I mean, my end cards are long, but geez, I'm no Yuri of Wind or anything. You see, it's not quite that.
Now that's a name that I haven't heard in a long time. Go shouting out other channels if it's on your bingo list. I don't think it's on mine. Oh my god. Yuri of Wind. Is he even doing anything anymore? Yuri of Wind. Let's bring up a different. Get out of here. Two years ago. Oh my god, blast from the fucking past. Is Yuri of Wind problematic? I can't remember. He did anything. Is there controversy about Yuri of Wind? Oh. He hasn't made any videos in 2 years. But he is posting. Just little hearts and links to videos. Happy Easter, stay safe and happy Yuri Sunday. Or yeah, we choose your adventure this Easter. Okay. Yeah, he's just like linking songs. That's all he's doing. Yeah, I used to watch him, I will admit. Uh, his coverage on creepypastas, I kind of remember being decent. Man, I might have to watch back some of this shit. What are we seeing? 12, 18. Yeah, his videos weren't that long. What are you talking about, dude? Anyway.
Simple. Tests have shown that homosexual males also have similarly sized fingers, while quote-unquote butch lesbians tend to have a digit ratio.
Yes, my favorite butch lesbian is from Final Fantasy X. Oh. Are you Matt, are you being homophobic? Are you making another homophobic joke?
Similar to a straight male. Now mind you, this isn't me being homophobic or sexist. This is just science. I know it sounds like I may be putting people into a box, and it is to some extent, but science has shown, on average, these trends exist. And
This
if you
is
don't
not
believe me, I encourage you, do the research yourself.
We just did the research. It's maligned and it's a controversial theory, and it seems to be very flawed.
Disclaimers aside, while we can't yet conclude whether the pyro is a male or a female, we do know it's either a gay male or a straight female. So now what? Well, let's check out the rest of his body. First, his feet. Women have smaller feet proportional to their height than men. Comparing the pyro's feet to the other characters, his feet are just as large, if not larger, than the rest of the guys who are significantly taller than him. So that's a point solidly in the man column. Men also have longer torsos, and as you can see from the character model,
I think, considering how cartoony these characters are, I think that this is
the pyro is definitely not lacking in torso space. In fact, he's almost the masculine ideal. Studies have shown women are more attracted to men whose leg height matches their torso height. And for the pyro, his legs are the length of 3 pyro heads, as is his torso. So under that mask could be a very beautiful man. Or a slightly stocky woman. Another physical marker separating males from females is the biochromial width, aka broad shoulders, something the pyro's slumpy, slopey shoulders clearly seems to lack. But more importantly than absolute shoulder width is the proportion to the rest of the body. The average US male is 5 foot 10 inches tall, or about 1.78 meters, and his shoulders tend to be 18.
Shout out to the under 5'5" man gang. Let's go, manlets.
18¼ inches, or 46 centimeters wide. That's a shoulder.
Ooh, if you have converting to Imperial system just to make your life more difficult, mark that off of your bingo chart.
To height ratio of about 0.26. The average woman, conversely, stands at 5 foot 4.5, or 1.64 meters, with shoulders at 15 inches or 38 centimeters, a ratio of 0.23. The pyro, as depicted in this height chart, meanwhile, stands at 300 pixels tall.
That is barely relevant in terms of ratio.
With shoulders.
I have very broad shoulders. Like, my shoulders are nuts. I don't know. Hold on. I actually do have a tape measure. Second. Where is it? I swear to God it was out. Here it is. So I'm 5'4", and my shoulders are hard to measure. 20 inches. Oh God. My shoulders are broader than the average man's shoulders, and I'm under 5'4", or I am 5'4", so yeah. So clearly, that means very little. I am a Dorito. No, I'm not a Dorito. I'm built like a dwarf, like a Tolkien dwarf. So
Pyro, as depicted in this height chart,
yeah.
meanwhile, stands at 300 pixels tall, with shoulders that are 80 pixels wide, bringing
Oh,
his
pixel
shoulder
measurements.
to height
I should have
ratio
put
exactly to
I
0.2.
I should have put pixel measurements on. I'm adding it right now. Well, I mean, it won't really affect this game, but like I'll add it, and then if we play again, and when you re-roll, it should be added in.
6, the ideal ratio for an average man. So while his biochromial width seems narrow when compared to hyper-masculine beasts like the soldier, his ratio is right on target for him to be a less testosterone-driven man. So physically, the Pyro fits all the characteristics of a potentially homosexual male. But is there any other evidence?
Of course they do. Every male in Team Fortress 2 is gay. Duh. They're all gay. Every single one of them, even the spy.
Well, in the Meet the Pyro
count using gameplay mechanics as evidence, it counts here. Okay. Yeah, so using gameplay mechanics as evidence.
video, we get to see the world through the Pyro's eyes. And what we see is a 10-year-old girl's paradise, replete with rainbows, candy, and flying ponies. But as we all know, rainbow ponies are popular both with underage girls and a select group of 20-something males, so no strong evidence
So dated.
there. However, what's more important about this video is the disconnect between how the Pyro sees the world and what's actually happening. The Pyro here is experiencing an intense level of visual and auditory hallucination, a strong indicator that he suffers from schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is
Woo! That's gotta be something, right? Drug trip. If you've got the, or no, hold on, not drug trip, but like, we have something like it though. Hold on. What is it? Maybe not. I should add they're mentally ill though. Hold on, I'm gonna make a list of things that let's go. Edit. Paste in a list of words. So schizophrenic. What was the other one that I said? Using pixel measurements. Character has a mental disorder. Oh, I'm also gonna put in fat phobia. Anyway, but yes, you
a mental illness that makes it difficult to differentiate between what's real and what's not real. Research has shown that schizophrenic hallucinations tend to involve vivid, colorful scenes, can sometimes include animals, and can elicit extreme emotional reactions, including tremendous pleasure. In other words, Pyroland in a nutshell.
Yeah, but there's like a just regular hallucinations. Like there has to be a level of paranoia, I believe, for it to be considered schizophrenia.
So how does all of this identify the sex of the Pyro? While schizophrenia affects both men and women equally, gay and bisexual men show twice the rate of schizophrenia than any other group.
Huh? Fucking source? Gender. Let's see. It's it manifests differently. While lifetime prevalence is similar between men and women, the disorder's trajectory diverges. Men typically experience illnesses onset approximately 3 to 5 years earlier than women, with more severe negative symptoms, worse social functioning, and higher rates of comorbid substance use disorders. By contrast, women often have later onset, including a secondary midlife peak, likely linked to declining estrogen, and tend to present with more effective symptoms. Neurobiologically, men with schizophrenia exhibit more extensive structural brain abnormalities and cognitive impairment, especially memory, whereas women benefit from a degree of neuroprotection possibly mediated by estrogen and distinct gene expression patterns. Hormonal influence appears pivotal, with estrogen's neuroprotective effects potentially delaying onset and mitigating symptom severity in women, and low testosterone levels correlating with more pronounced negative symptoms in men. Treatment response also varies by sex. Women with schizophrenia generally respond to antipsychotics at lower doses with better clinical improvements and fewer relapses, whereas men often require higher doses due to faster drug metabolism and also typically face higher relapse risk. Notably, the treatment advantage of women diminishes after menopause. Adverse effect profiles differ as well. Women with schizophrenia are more prone to side effects such as antipsychotic-induced hyperprolactinemia, weight gain, and metabolic or cardiovascular complications, while men tend to experience more neurological side effects while also exhibiting lower treatment adherence. So, yes, there is no difference. It's just, yeah, this is probably based on old science.
That goes alongside another astounding fact, that 90% of clinically treated cases of pyromania are males. In other words, the final, scientifically proven answer to the sex of TF2's pyro: he's a homosexual male, not based on stereotypes, not based on circumstantial evidence, but based on biological science. His fingers, his body shape, his mental condition. And even if you don't believe me, I think that there's one thing we can all agree on. Gay or not, the pyro is one big flamer. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. Hey, this video...
Was that Screw Attack?
Game theory. Thanks for watching.
I think he had to cut that bit out because... Oh, yeah, I think they had to edit that one down. That's really funny. Game theory, game exchange. That's really funny.
Hey, this video was super long, so let's make this short.
Okay. So I think I'm gonna also add aged like milk. But let's also go aged like wine in case, you know, there is one that age as well. Anyway, that was crazy.
As a theorist, it's pretty clear that I like numbers, research, and running tests, right? So over the next few videos, I'm running a super amazing end card tournament in an effort to find what the most clickable end card button ever would be. This week's competition, cute kittens versus boobs. The one with the most clicks progresses to the next round. They'll both take you to the channel page, so while you're there, check out another video. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, because I guarantee no other channel goes to the lengths this one does to unearth gaming's biggest secrets. Like, seriously, I spent 10 hours researching stuff for this video. It's kind of insane. It's also good that I don't have much of a social life. So click on one. I'm done talking and really want to
If you have boob theory,
kittens or boobs. It's like
mark it off.
The internet exists going.
Oh boy. Oh my goodness gracious. Matthew Patthew. Alright, let's watch the first FNAF video. I think it's just with this one.
Hello once again.
This is another shorter one. Okay, cool. But I believe, yeah, this is the first one. I don't think we're gonna watch the other ones, but we're going to watch this one. One away from bingo. Me too. I've hold on, let me see. I'm one away from bingo too. I need allegory for the 5 stages of grief. I think I'm gonna get another one for this video.
Hello once again, theorists. Welcome to Matt Pat Plays. Today we are playing the scariest game of all creation. Probably never heard of it. It's called Five Nights at Freddy's.
Did we do it at my first?
Here we go.
I don't remember. It's fine. It doesn't matter.
It's a camera. The camera came up. Oh,
I don't think it was
that a
this
bunny?
video.
Was that a bunny? I think it was a bunny.
I think it was a different video.
I am so scared right now. Oh god! Huh. It was only the fan.
I'm gonna be
It's
adding
only the fan. Only a fan.
awkward cold open
I have never played a game this intense. Oh god!
to this
Shut the doors,
list.
shut the doors, shut the doors. Oh, please don't see me, please don't see me, please don't see me, please don't see me, please don't see me.
Oh, and
I'm so scared right now. I'm so scared. Can you tell how scared I am right now?
he's acting so. I have like a skit one, but it's for segueing.
Just the fan. Just the fan.
Let's just
I
go.
don't know about you, but every time the camera
No,
makes the
yeah.
sound to come up, I pee a little bit in my pants. What? That's it? That's it? It's a jump scare? It's a little bunny rabbit jump scare. Really? Really? Alright. I mean, oh god, it's so terrifying. Oh, there's the bunny rabbit, shut my door. Man, this is truly compelling gameplay. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm almost out of power. 11% and it's 5 a.m. I don't know if I'm gonna make it.
2.5 minute
Freddy, please
fucking
don't get me,
skit.
Freddy.
Really?
Come on. Is this what it takes to get views on YouTube? What is this?
Yeah, Golden Freddy got me a few times, I'm gonna be honest with you. Back in the day. This is before Film Theory, even. Oh, wait, hold on. I think that there is one that is like the truth. Hold on a second. No, I don't have one that says the truth. Ooh. A light tangent, but with the whole The Amazing Digital Circus League situation, I'm curious how you think bad theories have affected the expectations of the show. Here's a little something for you. Thank you so much, Green Worm Jello for the $25 super chat. I think it definitely has affected expectations. I think there's interesting things to talk about from day to day, and I think that like releasing it in the way that it was, I think it was good, but I do think that sometimes people take it a little bit too far, though I have seen some people talking about interesting things. But like I think analyzing it, I think I think The Amazing Digital Circus is one of those ones that if you get too technical in the analysis of it, like, there are obviously certain, like, Soma and I Have No Mouth But I Must Scream, like, um, those are some obvious comparisons and inspirations, and I think talking about it from a storytelling perspective is fine, but I think like getting too into the weeds with the technical aspects of it and what's technically capable, and also like treating Kane as if he was similar to like a real AI in our world, and like quite AI in quotations, but like treating him like a real LLM that's in our world and analyzing it from that perspective, I think is probably wrong. Like, I don't think Gooseworks is pro AI, even though she's been humanizing AI in the story. I don't think that's what it means. Um, so I think if you get too into the weeds with it, you can get the wrong message, but that's, regardless of whether it's, finished or not and what your expectations are. But anyway, I'm going to press play again.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game
FNAF
Theory,
really is
where
Gen Z's
Fear
Harry
is
Potter.
our middle
You're
name.
true, you're
Matthew
right.
Fear Patrick. It's a very strange name. Okay, I'll admit it, I didn't give Five Nights at Freddy's enough credit when it first came out. A few jump scares from creatures that, aren't that scary. People overreacting to it on YouTube. Meh, pass. But then when I asked you about it, you showed overwhelming support for an episode on the game on Twitter, so I began to dig a little deeper and deeper. And what I found was some of the most interesting storytelling, most intriguing mysteries, and most disturbing events I'd read about in a long time. Now, if you were just to play the game straight through 5 days, the story would actually
Is that
come across as
coming
pretty
from the video?
superficial. You're the
It is.
new night guard watching the security cameras
the
at a
weird
Chuck E.
background
Cheese-style
music.
restaurant called Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. 4 animatronics roam the halls at night because the owners don't want their servos to lock up. Bad news is, you can't let them near you, or else they'll kill you on the spot because you look like a naked endoskeleton. Ow, ow! Show them those circuits! Apparently, one of them bit someone back in 87, presumably 1987. And the past guard leaves you recorded phone messages to act as your tutorial, that is, as much as he could record before he got himself killed. And that's it. Stay 5 nights, collect your paycheck, done, game over, play something new. But playing it that way is doing the game a huge disservice, because that's not even scratching the surface. If you're really observant, you start to unravel the layers of unsolved mysteries around this place. You find that there's a 5th animatronic, that posters on the wall will change randomly, that news clippings appear and disappear, telling the dark secrets of this twisted place. Putting it all together, here's the rest of the story. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, once a popular restaurant.
The alt timeline where Matt did Slender, not FNAF. You know what? I was actually thinking about that. It's like, this is proof that we're living in the bad timeline. Because I feel like if Matt had not picked Five Nights at Freddy's to cover, then FNAF would be very, very different. And we'd probably have, like, it is such a domino effect, because I really do think Matthew's analysis on Five Nights at Freddy's not only changed the trajectory of his channel, but changed the trajectory of like fan videos on the internet forever. Like, when did he make this? 11 years ago. Yeah.
Fell into hard times when 5 children went missing there after being lured to a back room by a man dressed in a character costume. Though a suspect was caught and convicted, the bodies of the children were never recovered. The pizzeria was also threatened with shutdown due to sanitation complaints, as foul odors started to come from the animatronics, blood and mucus oozing from their eyes and mouths. The last article, written years after the incident, states that the pizzeria would finally be closed by year end. In addition to the core 4 robots, Chica, Bonnie, Freddy, and Foxy, there's also a 5th, unofficially referred to as Golden Freddy. Ignoring the rules of physics, Golden Freddy appears and disappears at will, can inexplicably travel through doors, wherever, causing strange hallucinations. And when he attacks you, you're not taken to the typical game over screen, your game crashes. So that's unsettling. And there's also strange messages appearing on the walls, repeating the words, "It's me." According to the game's creator, the place is indeed haunted by what we can only assume to be the spirits of the 5 lost children. So that's the gist of it. Murder, missing children, foul odors, killer robots, and pizza. But that story leaves a lot of lingering questions. Who is
I
your
want
character?
pizza.
How's he fit in? Why does he stay for 5 nights when he's very clearly confronting the possibility of death? What more can we know about this terrifying Golden Freddy? And most importantly, what is the complete story behind Five Nights at Freddy's? They're all good questions about a delightfully incomplete and mysterious story with just enough threads to keep you theorizing. So now, if you'll indulge me, let me reciprocate that story with one of my own.
I don't think we should. Okay, so I'm a little tempted to put theory baiting here, but I think that like I don't think it was Scott's intention for this to be covered on YouTube. I just think it was his intention for the people playing to be like, "Oh, this is a mystery that I want to solve." I don't think because this kind of video didn't really exist until this one, really. So I would say that I don't think that would count this as theory baiting.
I think you'll find it interesting. December 1993, Aurora, Colorado. 10 p.m. Tuesday night at a local Chuck E. Cheese. After a family birthday party runs long, manager Margaret Colbert.
All right, if you've got on your bingo card, bringing up real world events for no reason, mark that off on your card.
And teenage employees Sylvia Crowell, Ben Grant, Colleen O'Connor, and Bobby Stevens are forced to stay late to close up shop. But as Margaret tallies receipts in the back, Bobby scrubs down the kitchen, and the other 3 work outside in the main arcade. Unknown to any of the 5, there's actually a 6th person locked in the building with them, waiting silently in the darkened restrooms. A 19-year-old named Nathan Dunlap. Earlier that year, Nathan had begun working there as a cook,
This is
dough
so fucking
master, before getting
distasteful.
fired in July
What the
after a
fuck?
disagreement over his hours. Now, 5 months later,
This in the Pet
he was
Scott
back.
video.
At 10:05, he left the bathroom, pulled out a small caliber handgun, and proceeded to execute everyone in the building. First Sylvia, then Ben, then Colleen. Dunlap then moved to the kitchen, where he surprised Bobby Stevens. The bullet entered Bobby's jaw, sending him sprawling onto the ground. Then finally, Nathan moved to the back, the office, where Margaret opened the safe before Nathan shot her twice, proceeded to grab her bag, filling it with $1,600 in cash, arcade tokens, and keychains. Spurred on by the building security footage, police were at his home a few hours later, where he was promptly arrested. Eventually, he was tried and sentenced to death, but his story re-entered the news just recently as his punishment has been postponed, leading people to debate whether he's able to sleep soundly, knowing that his execution has been delayed. This is a tragic story, a disgusting waste of human life, and one that I won't joke
Matthew, what is wrong with you?
about or make fun of in any way, but I want to address it because I have a strong suspicion that this story is the one that inspired Five Nights at Freddy's. Let's look at the facts. First, I don't think that there's any doubt that Freddy's is a parody of Chuck E. Cheese. From the singing animatronics to the alliterative naming of the character.
But like even back then, it was clear. If you have theories just wrong and like on your card, oh, and if you have the hidden meaning of, click that one too. Mark those ones off.
The parallels are just obvious, so the setting is certainly the same. Next, what
Oh, he's
year
about
does
to
Five
explain
Nights take
Raccoon.
place? The time is certainly kept vague, but there are clues that we can put together. For one, the Chuck E. Cheese franchise had a tremendous period of growth and success in the late 80s and early 90s, but started to decline along the same time as arcades, with at-home video game consoles taking center stage. So that's one clue, but we can get even more detailed, specifically with your character's paycheck. Each night you're working a 6-hour shift, and you're spending 5 nights there. So that's 30 hours of total work time for $120. In total, $4 an hour. How can they do that? That's below minimum wage for 2014. But in 1990, minimum wage was $3.80. In 1991, it was raised to $4.25. And by 1996, you were looking at about $5 an hour. So the game seems to take place between 1991 and 1996. The Nathan Dunlap story took place in 1993. But let's move on to the most important comparison, the victims. In the game, there were 5 child victims. In the real-life story, there were also 5 victims. But we can get even more specific. Online theories about the game always tend to draw a parallel between the number of kids missing to the number of animatronics, saying that the children's bodies were stuffed in the various suits. And this appears to be true. Bonnie and Chica both have moans and raspy breath sound effects, as though someone's trying to cling to the last threads of their lives stuffed inside the costumes. And other sounds
Those
made
sounds
by the
always creep
animatronics
me
are
out.
just slowed down versions of children's laughter.
I like to think Scott watched this and went, what the fuck? Yeah. How did this even get past the drafting phase? The thing is that he did it again in the Petscop video. And like, in the Petscop video, it actually was kind of taking some naming inspiration. And it's one of the things that the creator regrets the most. But I think, you know, Matt really clung onto it way too hard. And it wasn't super relevant to the actual game or the actual series.
Laughs and screams. Additionally, as the news clipping mentions, the suits ooze blood and mucus and begin to stink like decaying bodies or reanimated corpses. So 5 victims, 5 suits. Seems like a slam dunk, but nowhere does it say that all 5 were murdered, only that they went missing and couldn't be found. Also, the trouble a lot of people have with this theory is Golden Freddy. Why is that guy so limp and lifeless? So unlike the others. It's weird, until you go back to the real life story. Yes, there were 5 people shot that night in Chuck E. Cheese, which matches the 5 victims in Freddy's story. But of those, one
Jesus
survived.
Christ.
Bobby, the one from the kitchen, miraculously survived the shot to his jaw. After he was knocked to the floor by the bullet, he went limp, played dead, to avoid the killer coming back to finish the job. And that relates exactly to the advice you're given on night 3 by the phone guy.
Try playing dead. You know, go limp.
Again, let me reiterate that I'm not trying to make light of the real-life events by comparing them to bear costumes and animatronics, but I do want to point out that these similarities do exist. And what else is limp and appears to be a lifeless, empty suit in the game? Golden Freddy. Surviving the attack, Bobby was able to go to trial and be a damning piece of evidence in the case against Nathan Dunlap, ultimately leading to his death sentence. Which animatronic surprises you by appearing randomly? The one you don't expect and has no clear pattern? Golden Freddy. It's also worth mentioning that of all the cameras in the restaurant, one is always black, preventing you from seeing what's going on. That camera is located in the kitchen, leading many to assume it's where Golden Freddy hides, which just so happens to be the place Bobby was able to survive the attack.
Oh, jeez. I'm sorry. I forgot how distasteful this was.
So I asked,
I feel bad
odd
for watching it
coincidence or source
on
of inspiration?
stream.
In fact, if you think about it, the behavior of the animatronics really
come on
corresponds
now.
with key features of each of the real-life story's victims. We just covered Golden Freddy and Bobby, but the rest have strange parallels too. Bonnie goes into the utility closet filled with floor cleaning supplies, the most prominent ones being a mop and a broom. It's probably one of the most random rooms in the game, until you consider that Ben, the second victim, was vacuuming building at the time of the attack. Foxy is kept sequestered in the back of the building, behind a curtain, more aggressive than all the rest. Similar to the way Margaret, the manager, was in the back office counting receipts at the time of the murder, and her role as manager would inherently make her more aggressive or assertive.
But, like, we know... Okay. So you're cherry picking because this is such a horrible misrepresentation, because if it was supposed to be the back, she's in the back in the office, wouldn't that make more sense if Foxy started in the office then and not like front stage, like at the front of the fucking restaurant and like right next to the main stage? Like, okay. So, I would like to point something out. So this right here, the map, we kind of see, oh, this is us. We're at the, this is where we are, right? This is where the offices are, the hallways that connect the offices and admins. I believe this is supposed to be the bathroom right here. This is the main stage, and this is the, like, this is the, yeah. And this, like, this is where the restaurant is. So, like, this is, like, what looks like on our cameras, like, the back, is actually what we would consider the front if we were to go in as, people that were going into the restaurant. I believe the implication is that the door is up here to get in. Because if you go into a restaurant, all the kitchen and stuff is on the far end, and the restaurant is at the front nearest to the entrance. That's usually that's usually how it goes. So this would be the employee entrance, and where we come in and we're doing all of our stuff as employees. But to, like, somebody going into the restaurant, you would flip this upside down. This is the front. This is the front of the building. I think the implication would be, yeah? So why would she be at the front of the... Shouldn't she be down here? If that's supposed to be her? Just saying.
Sylvia was closest to the bathroom and was cleaning up the salad bar at the time of the attack. Chica walks past the bathroom and is associated with food. And Freddy, well, he doesn't have that strong of a parallel with Carlin, but he does appear in the girls' restroom. Odd for what we would assume to be a male animatronic. Maybe it's a reference to Carlin being a girl, or a nod to Nathan's plan of hiding in the bathroom until he was ready to attack. Alright, after doing all the research, reading every fan theory in existence, and putting all the clues together, what can this mean for the story of the game? I think the game is an allegory for that night back in 1993. Here's my final interpretation. You, Mike Schmidt, are the murderer, former employee of Freddy's Pizzeria. Like Nathan in the real story, you were fired for the reasons stated in the day
Theory wrong, obviously. Aged like milk. Because we know that, like, this is supposed to be the son of the person who perpetuated
pink slip,
crime.
tampering with the animatronics, being unprofessional, odor. Maybe it was your tampering with the robots that caused the infamous bite of 87. Regardless, like Nathan, you were mad and wanted to get even. So you lured children to the back using a costume, killed them, stuffed their bodies into the animatronic suits, hoping to get the place shut down, then left. Notice that the newspaper clippings never say it's an employee of the company luring the children away, but we know it must have been someone with access and knowledge of the employees only section of the building. And as the newspaper clippings clearly show, just like Nathan, you were caught almost immediately, captured on the security footage. You were arrested, tried, and convicted, forced now to live on death row. The Freddy's Pizzeria you work in now are just the nightmares that haunt you, taunting you every night with the phrase, "It's me, it's..."
Alright, if you have, it was just a dream. Mark that off. I don't think I have it.
me. It is you. You are the killer. The nightmare is also why everything is so surreal. Posters switching at random, heads on the animatronics glitching, Golden Freddy appearing and disappearing at will, taunting you as the one that got away. It's also why you're only at the pizzeria from midnight to 6 a.m. every night. It's a nightmare. It's in your sleep. It's a place you created, a restaurant long closed as evidenced by the spider webs, and overrun with angry spirits out for revenge on you, and you alone as the one who took their lives, as evidenced by them completely ignoring the naked endoskeleton elsewhere in the building. It's also a place you can't escape from, why you find yourself back there night after night, even after you complete your 5 nights. See you back next week, the ending text goes. You're unable to leave this terror, the threat of death, the guilt, because it never ends. And in a delightfully ironic twist, your personal hell forces you to supervise the exact same security footage that led to your capture in the first place. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Sweet dreams.
Wow.
You know what October reminds me of? Traveling from door to door in order to get free snacks on Halloween. Look at this.
Awkward segue to a sponsor. If you have that, make sure to click that one. Jesus Christ, my dude. Yeah, that sure was something. Alright. Let's do a Super Carlin Brothers one. Because we haven't done one of those yet. If you have Harry Potter video in 2026, mark that off. I know that we might not be watching one, but like... Yeah. Let's see. Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter. They're just a Harry Potter channel now. Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter. Is she like paying them directly? Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter. He did an Avatar video 2 months. They did an Avatar video 2 months ago. Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter. Harry Potter. Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter. Oh, Pixar theory. Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter. Like, this year, okay, 5 months ago, so that would have been, yeah. And then this showdown, I guess. So that would have been before the end of the, okay, yeah. So this is probably, this is 2025. So yeah, they did so far this year. They make a video, I think, every week. They make several videos a week, and they've only done 2 videos this year that aren't Harry Potter related. Jesus Christ. Let's... Oh, okay. Let's do the... Okay, I don't want to watch a Harry Potter video. Let's do Yue was supposed to be the Avatar from The Last Airbender. Let's do that one. Yeah, it's not even a refusal to let go. It's just diving deeper. And like, okay, hold on. Let's see. They're getting like around 100. They usually get sub 100. Sometimes they'll get more. But like between like 50 to 100,000, and they have 2.22 million subscribers. So to put that into perspective, their channel performs at about the same rate as a friend of the channel's, Anthony Gramuglia, who has 1/10 of their sub count. So it's not like this is serving them well. This, and like, look, 8.9K. Like, these are not good numbers. Let's try to go back. See, these aren't bad. 100 and, you know. But again, like, friend of the channel, Anthony Gramuglia, it does get around this, you know. Yeah. But, like, what did they get? Here we go. 200K, 200K. This was 2 years ago. Let me go back. Okay, here we go. I thought one of their videos got a million, like a couple million. Where did it go? What if Harry was in Slytherin? 3.1 million back 3 years ago. 2.5 million for the complete Pixar theory in 2022. So, you know, they were doing better before. They had their ups and downs, and like I will admit that their Harry Potter videos seem to have been doing better, but like the Pixar theory and their Harry Potter videos seem to be the ones that were doing best. And I guess 3 years ago, like 2023, like we kind of at that point knew that. When did Browning really start going mask off? Okay, so the 2018 was when she liked an anti-trans tweet and says it was an accident. 2019, Dance with Researcher. 2020, likes another controversial tweet. 2020 was when the backlash really started. And then 2020 was when she published her essay defending her actions. So 2020 was really when it started kicking off. And then 2022, she started to get involved in the politics. And that's when 2022 is when people were boycotting things. Yeah, and that's when Jessie Gender called to boycott Hogwarts Legacy. So 2023, people should have known better, but it took a little while for people to let go, so whatever. But yeah, you could see back then they were still pretty successful. But their views have gone down significantly. I would say. It seems to be rarer for them to get above 100K these days. If we were to go to game theory, Yeah. So game theory, well, that might not be a good comparison because they have 19. Let's find somebody that has. Let's go to Jesse Gender actually. Only 200. Okay, so not enough. Well, let's go H Bomber guy. He doesn't put out things as frequently. But like 41 million, 20 million, 18 million, 14 million. But he's a bit of a different caliber, you're right, you know? Who would be a good channel to compare? Did this channel ever acknowledge J.K. Rowling transphobia? I think they don't. But like this is Anthony. He's got 137,000 subs, right? And he frequently like this kind of flopped, but like 110, 55, 81. This just came out a few hours ago. You should go watch it. I did the thumbnail art for actually all of these, but I'm especially pleased with the Nightwing one. Here's another flop, but most of, say similar view count, much different subscriber count. I'm trying to find a channel that's about the same. Has a similar output, covers something similar. I don't know, maybe Big Joel. Even that one's smaller. We're getting close, but yeah. And he only puts one out like once a month, so that might not be. But even his stuff is in like the millions at times. 370, yeah. 751,000, 168,000. So they usually get like 6 figures or sometimes 4 figures. Let me see. I don't think I subscribe to a lot of theory channels anymore. Well, I mean, like, let's look at the theorizer. Okay, theorizer. Guys, he doesn't put out as often, but he's doing better than the Carlin brothers. He is also, this one's pretty recent. It's only a 62K, but that was a few. He only puts things out like every few months. So again, not the same output, but he gets more views on his videos, millions, hundreds of thousands. For better or for worse, sometimes he has a flop, but most of the time he's pretty good. Like I said, game theory is on a whole different scale. Let's go Rye Toast. I think they have a similar. No. FNAF. It's not the same size, but I'm curious. And they're doing better than the Super Carlin brothers. But they also only put one out. Yeah, they don't post as often. But it looks like they were for a while. They were just on a hiatus. But yeah. No, they do better than the Carlin brothers. So it's like, are you getting paid by Rowling? Because you're tanking your channel. Like these numbers for the amount of content that you're putting out is ridiculous. Right? I did draw that Dick Grayson. Anyway.
Super Carlin Brothers is sponsored by BetterHelp.
Let's add problematic sponsor to the list. Dude, you guys, okay, come on, you guys are fucking greedy.
Holidays are a time of
corporate
traditions,
shows.
like making your grandmother's pudding recipe or watching that movie you've seen 1,000 times. Incorporating therapy into your life can help you take time for yourself during what can be a joyful but sometimes tough time of year. And by caring for yourself, you can show up more for the important moments. Visit betterhelp.com/super for 10% off. Was Princess Yue supposed to be the Avatar? Hey, brother! You guys, the first trailer for season 2 of the live-action Avatar The Last Airbender just dropped, and as usual, whenever I get even just like a whiff of Avatar, I get like so hyped. Because I mean, like, has the story really even started until Azula and Toph show up, right?
I am Melon Lord!
Well, yes, it totally has. But today, I want to talk about a character whose story...
Not to be a hater, but I fucking hate this mustache. What am I kidding? I love being a hater. What is this mustache, though?
Never started, or at least maybe not the way it was intended to. Princess Yue of the Northern Water Tribe. You remember her, right? Like, born sick, saved by the moon spirit, white hair, fell in love with Sokka in like a day. Sorry, Suki, who I guess he also only knew for like a day. Do any girls in this world not like Sokka? I mean, like, between Suki and Yue and Ty Lee and Toph, the man is dropping some serious riz.
Oh, Sokka, you saved me!
Yeah, and people wonder who Suyin's father is. We're off track. The point is,
stealth
Yue's
shipping.
entire arc is
Throw
pretty
stealth shipping up
unique,
on there.
Even for this world. She has a mysterious, almost uncurable sickness. She can't waterbend. The spirits step in on her behalf, and she becomes the moon?
My first girlfriend turned into the moon. That's rough, buddy.
And you might think, well, yeah, she was destined to become the moon. So all of that was just leading up to, well, that. And fair enough. And yet, I think there is still a better explanation. Yue was supposed to be the next Avatar, except Aang didn't die on time because he was frozen in the iceberg.
It counts off.
And I know that kind of sounds crazy, but the more you look into it, the more it makes sense. So today we explore Yue, the Avatar that wasn't.
That's not how reincarnation works, you idiot. I said stealth shipping. Stealth shipping. STALF. Like sneaky. They're sneaking the ship in there. But anyway.
Hey, brother!
Water. Earth. Fire. Air.
That is the order of the Avatar cycle, meaning that after each Avatar dies, the new one will be born into the next appropriate nation in the line. Which has always been extremely interesting to me because it suggests that the true natural order of this world is for the four bending styles to live separate but harmoniously. Fittingly, I suppose Aang also founds Republic City, a place where all four nations live together, which represents the Avatar's role in thing. He is all combined. But like, then what if there were no borders and everyone just lived everywhere? Would the Avatar cycle just continue on? Like, I suppose that's a sky bison of a different color. But for the purpose of today's video, though, the way the world is supposed to work is with 4 distinct nations. So Katara is not wrong when she says everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked, because when they do wipe out every air nomad and destroy an entire nation, you know, minus Aang, they literally throw the world out of balance. And so...
Okay, so... I feel like this is a little racist. I can't quite explain it, but this idea that there would be no distinct cultures if there wasn't war and strife and conflict, I feel like that's a little racist and xenophobic, is it not? Correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds weird to it feels weird to me.
The Avatar cycle itself gets thrown out of balance as well, with Aang suddenly freezing himself in the iceberg for 100 years, long past when he should have died by natural means. But I'm saying should like in italics, because it's not like I'm saying like Aang needed to die. What was he thinking? I'm just saying that the cycle has a very predictable nature to it, like seasons. It always goes in the same order based on nations, meaning in a way the nations are actually more natural than they are political. And wouldn't you know, anytime it gets to be, you know, more about the politics is when all the fighting starts to break out. Feels like there's a lesson in there. But what I'm really getting at is that the Avatar cycle itself is seasonal. Obviously, some avatars will live longer than others, but more or less there's a predictable time.
Also, I'm pretty sure it's canon at this point that, and it would have been revealed at this point, that avatars live shorter lives than most people. Don't they? Okay, no, it's Aang's life was cut short because of his time in the iceberg. Okay. Alright, my bad. Nations are a human idea that have nothing to do with the balance in the world. True. Yeah, Kyoshi lived to be over 200, so that kind of like shoots this in the foot, doesn't it? Not only that, but like how reincarnation works. It's not like somebody is born where it's like we're expecting this person to get this soul. That's not really how it works. Like they would be reincarnated during consent. Like it's not like I'm waiting to be the avatar. Oh, I didn't get the avatar soul, so I guess you know what I mean. That's not really how it works.
When the change will happen.
Also, hold on. Need to check something. Northern Water Tribe. Southern Water Tribe. So Do we have family? Because I think she has like relatives in the Northern Water Tribe, right? Yeah. Born and raised in the Southern Water Tribe. Do on Rock and Senna, I believe. Nope. Okay, no. Yeah, because yeah, her father is from the Northern Water Tribe. Okay. So I guess maybe you could argue that, but was born to a Southern Water Tribe mom. Just, like, I just feel like this is a little. Yeah, because her dad's from the Northern. Yeah.
But then Aang,
Anyway.
or I guess rather the Fire Nation, upsets that balance and pauses the whole cycle for 100 years. And that is where Yue enters the picture again, because when Aang freezes himself, he's 10, and when he meets Yue 100 years later, she's 16, meaning after he is frozen, 84 years pass before she's born. Plus Aang's age, that would make him 94 years old at that point, if he didn't die in some other weird Avatar accident or something. But 94 is a perfectly reasonable, if not predictable, time for him to have died just naturally. And of course, upon his death, the next Avatar would then be born into one of the water tribes.
But it seems to imply. It seems to imply that, like, because okay, so we know that being under the ice did shorten his life, so it seems to imply that, like, that was his natural lifespan anyway, so he would have, because again, like, Kyoshi lived to be quite old, so if he died, like, quote unquote young because he was frozen, that seems to imply he was always meant to die then anyway, right? So I think that just disproves that theory, like, right off the bat, because that seems to be the year he was quote unquote always supposed to die. Otherwise, like, he would have just continued on to have a natural lifespan, right? And wasn't Yue supposed to die as a baby? Exactly.
And so this theory is that Yue was supposed to be that baby, but could not become the Avatar because Aang was still alive. But why?
How old was Roku? "70 at death." Okay. 230 at death. Love interest. Enemies. Predecessor. Uruk, who was 33 at death. We have Yang Shen, who was. We don't know. 17. Um, Yeah, I'm not sure how old she lived to be, but it seems like she lived quite, be quite old. Predecessor Setso. And we don't know how old he was. Seems, but he looks like an old man. And we don't know who came before that. But yeah. So I don't think I think if you wanted to argue about this, I think this is the incorrect argument if we want to come at it strictly from a, well, Aang was supposed to die by then because, like, again, he died young, so that seems to imply that he would have died this age regardless um of if he had been frozen or not. You know? Good night, aspiring storyteller. Alright, press and
Yue
play.
specifically, you ask, why not any other water tribe citizen? Like even Katara, she's certainly within the margin of error here, right? True, perfectly true, but Yue does have a lot of very unique things about her. 10 points if you can name that quote, though. First is the mysterious illness she is born with that nobody can come up with a cure for. And bear in mind, she lives at the North Pole, home of the greatest healers and powerful waterbenders in the world. Katara will literally use a bit of water from the spirit pool at the North Pole to heal and save Aang from Azula's attack in Ba Sing Se, where, in case you're wondering, there is no war. Yes, that's how powerful the water is. It heals a fatal wound, and Yue has access to that exact pool as much as her parents want. They are the leaders of the Northern Water Tribe, meaning they have all the authority they need to have the access they want, but it's not good enough.
That's not good enough!
Instead, they have to take it a step further and ask for help from the moon and ocean spirits, Tui and La. You know, the yin-yang koi fish, the moon and the ocean, perfectly balancing each other out. And Tui, the moon spirit, indeed intervenes and offers Yue some of its own spirit life, which not only turns her hair white, but saves her.
It gave me life.
This is a very rare thing to happen in Avatar, a spirit literally bonding with a human, but as you may have guessed, it's not unheard of, because guess who is also bonded with a spirit? The Avatar. And not just any spirit, but the literal spirit of light and goodness and peace, Rava. Rava provides the connective tissue between past Avatar lives, the Avatar state, and the ability to bend all four elements. No Rava, no bending. And guess who can't bend? Yue, which on its own isn't really that unusual. She'd just be kind of like a squib in Harry Potter, like, you know, two bending parents, but no bending herself. It happens. Not a big deal. But what makes it unusual for Yue is the accompanying sickness. And because it's the addition of some spirit life being poured into her from Tui that saves her, it seems like what caused the sickness was the lack of a spirit that was supposed to be there.
No. No! Oh my god. Because the Avatar and Rava are two different entities. Oh my god. So the Avatar is the one that is reincarnating, that is a human soul, a human spirit that is reincarnating every cycle. And Rava is attached but separate from that soul. So the soul that was born as Yue would not. This is a bad explanation. This is a bad theory.
Most people are not born with that, though. Just the Avatar. Thus, Yue was supposed to be the next Avatar, but couldn't merge with Rava because Aang was still alive.
She didn't need to merge with Rava, though, because that's not how reincarnation works. It's the same soul, and it could, like, she couldn't have, ugh. Like, the soul was still in Aang, and so that's why Rava did not, like, because she has her own soul, like, this doesn't make sense. It's a different soul. This is not a good explanation. This is a bad theory.
So she's sick until she gets a replacement spirit. Now, I will grant you, she doesn't suddenly gain the ability to bend after Tui shares with her, which seems like it would hurt this argument. I hear that. But I think the reason is that she's not, like, fully merged with Tui at that point. This has a lot of funny words in it.
Blame you, Hotman!
However, after Zhao attacks the North Pole and
Funny words? You mean non-English words? Wow. I might have to get... I'm just gonna put racism into the thing next. Oops. If I recall correctly, the reincarnation explicitly picks someone that would otherwise already be a bender or the next element in the cycle, not just someone in the next relation. Yeah, he said that he was saying that although lots of funny words in this, like, non-English words, haha, funny.
mortally wounds Tui, Yue does finally fuse with the fist. She becomes the new moon spirit, and conversely, the most powerful waterbender on the planet. Well, I guess not, specifically not on the planet, because, it's the moon, but you know what I mean. But y'all, now we gotta take a brief pause right there, much like, the moon when it got a minor burn wound, am I right? It's not funny, it's not Cedric or anything.
No! Cedric!
I didn't think I could work a day. We're thanking today's sponsor, Aura Frames. Okay, let's talk ultimate gifts around the holidays. It's gotta be that perfect
I think we already
combination of
have
functional and thought.
awkward
It's a
segue to
hard
sponsor.
needle thread that is,
But
unless you know about Aura
Jesus.
Frames. They're like a holiday not so secret weapon for gifting, and for good reason. Aura
Dude, how long is this fucking...
And it gets better too, because it is
That was like a
so
2-minute
fitting
ad.
that it is Tui and La that are involved, and specifically the ones to help Yue, because, as I mentioned before, they represent yin and yang. But do you know which other spirits specifically represent yin and yang? Vatu and Rava. Vatu is the dark counterpart of Rava, like, the spirit of darkness and chaos and stuff. But the two are in an endless war with one another, which can only be settled once every 10,000 years during harmonic convergence. But what really drives the whole yin-yang thing home, though, is that Vatu and Rava are...
Yin-yang is just a very common, like... It's one of the bases of, like, a lot of Eastern spiritualities, like dark and light and balance and stuff, specifically Taoism, which is where yin and yang come from. It is like the basics of it. So I don't think it's weird that there are multiple light and dark spirits. Anyway,
said to contain vestigial elements of each other within themselves, from which they can regenerate after being defeated. You actually get to see this happen. Korra pulls Rava straight out of Vatu. But similarly, each side of the yin-yang symbol bears a small dot on the opposite color, symbolizing how each side bears a part of the other and how one cannot exist without the other. So how fitting then that if Yue is missing one half of the yin-yang, Rava, that specifically Tui, the white half, offers some of its spirit, which saves her.
Coincidence?
I think not. And do you see the symbolism about the world falling out of balance? Like, the Fire Nation attacks and destroys the air nomads and forces Aang into hiding for 100 years. Then, as a result, the next would-be Avatar gets skipped over, and now the moon must step in to save her, thus throwing the moon out of balance, an event that comes to physical fruition when
I don't like theories where it's like in the entire planet only one person is allowed to be the main character. Like, there could be other stories going on that are like to do with the spirit. Like, it doesn't have to be related. Like, you're connecting shit. Like, these dots don't need to be connected, and they're not, because again, this is a fundamental misunderstanding of how reincarnation works, because the spirit that would have been supposedly missing Rava is the spirit that is, or the soul that is inside Aang, and the soul inside of Yue would have been a completely different soul that had nothing to do with the Avatar. You know what I'm saying? And what was the other thing I was saying? Oh, yeah, and, like, the early death thing with Aang makes it clear that he was always meant to die then. He probably would have lived to be 136 rather than just 36. But anyway.
Zhao shows up and attacks Tui. And it gets even betterer, okay? Listen to this. Princess Yue, daughter of the chief, gets passed over, right? Then Aang goes on to live out his whole life, which incidentally ends up being cut short because of how he was frozen for 100 years. But then guess who Rava chooses for the next Avatar anyway? The daughter of the chief of the Water Tribe. Now, yes, granted, her dad, Tonrak, was not the official chief of the Southern Water Tribe, but that's only because they didn't have an official chief right then, but he is the unofficial leader of the Southern Water Tribe. It's like history is literally correcting itself. It's like, whoops, missed the Water Princess on that last go round, but you know what? I see another one coming. Let's go ahead and cut Aang a little short here, and Korra. Baby Korra doing bendy things. I'm the Avatar, feel my wrath.
Even brings up Aang's short lifespan. But okay.
But hey, speaking of Korra and Rava and Vatu and stuff, I can already hear your comments about how hey, wait, Korra totally still bends without Rava. Right here, did you see that little puff of air? Not to mention, the whole giant blue spirit kaiju Korra thing. What gives? Clearly she can bend without Rava. Okay. You know what? First of all, wow, that is some serious attention to detail. I cannot believe you even noticed the puff of air. Good for you. But second of all, you know what? I'm not concerned because, look here. Even separated from Rava, Korra clearly still feels pain when she's damaged. Their bond clearly goes deeper than skin. And third, as we've already brought up, Rava can't actually be destroyed. Dark can't exist without the light. I mean, it can be severely diminished or trapped, yes, but destroyed? No.
He cannot destroy light any more than I can destroy darkness. One cannot exist without the other.
And fourth of all, it's harmonic convergence, a literal once in 10,000 year cosmic event that basically means all the rules are out the window. Please let us have a giant spear fight in the Bay of Republic City, okay? I think we can all agree that's what it felt like the writers were saying in that moment. Or, also maybe Tenzin just airbender up there.
So, let me get this straight. It matters what the writers intended when it suits your theory, but not what they intended when it doesn't. Gotcha.
Behind the cloak. We can't see his hands. The more fun question, I think, though, is has the Yue situation happened before? Because, in case you didn't know, Avatar Kyoshi actually has Aang beat on lifespan, living over 200 years, and that's without freezing herself in an iceberg or anything like that. This is a very real feat she accomplished by learning what I'm going to call subatomic bending, where she is literally bending the cells of her body on a microscopic level to repair all of her organs and live on and on and on. There's some very weird abilities if you read the books. The Avatar novels are crazy. Anyway, Kyoshi eventually does pass on at the age of 230, having finally decided to die or just let the Avatar cycle continue, but Roku is the Avatar after her, which makes you wonder if there was another Fire Nation citizen that should have been the Avatar. And I looked pretty hard for this. The issue, though, was that it's hard to track down a lot of Fire Nation characters in what feels like the appropriate time zone. I mean, you've got Taiso, who would be Sozin's father, so a Fire Lord who was born a generation before Roku. He seems like a pretty good candidate. He is specifically disappointed that Sozin isn't born the Avatar, so, like, maybe he feels that way because he felt like he should have been the Avatar, but otherwise he's not, like, sick or anything, and he can still firebend, so not a great candidate. But then you've also got Zaisen, who's Sozin's sister, who was born without bending and opposes her brother's way of thinking. Sozin's the guy who, like, starts the whole war, Sozin's Comet, you know that. And she actually goes on to study the way of the air nomads, and that feels very Avatar, but also, then she's born a year after Roku, so that doesn't seem like a good candidate either. Or, and I kind of like this explanation, maybe the UA situation didn't happen at all despite Kyoshi's long life, because maybe Kyoshi's long life is actually the correction itself being made because her predecessor, Kuruk, lived a very short life of just 33 years. What do you guys think? Was UA supposed to be the next Avatar? And was there another Fire Nation member that got passed over as well? Let me know all your thoughts in the towel section down below.
I also feel like this is like... Yeah. I'm also pretty sure it's confirmed that one of the two creators of Avatar: The Last Airbender was not part of the writing for Korra. Oh, thank you for the donation, the tithe, Real Green Queen. That was a weak ass video. The two major pieces of evidence, I guess, also the yin yang thing. The yin yang thing is just like a very common symbol in Eastern mythology and Eastern like spirituality. The age thing, again, I think Aang dying young, it was evidence that he was always meant to die at that age. If you want to say that, like, whatever, and again, like, with the, oh, Rava wasn't attached, and she was supposed to be, like, again, like, she would have been attached to the spirit of the Avatar, which was still in Aang, so Yue would not have been missing out on anything, because she would have had a completely different spirit that had nothing to do with Rava. So, yeah, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, that fucking sucked. Anyway, anybody get bingo? So mad you misspelled your words. I didn't get bingo. Should we watch one more video? I think we go one more. Let's do one more. Somebody suggested SpongeBob Skin Theory. Let's do that one. By Doug Woolever. 11 million views.
Alright, let's do this. You are about to see 3 short clips from the popular—
Wait, no, this is over an hour long. We cannot do this. I'm not watching one that's over an hour long. No way, Jose. Yeah, Alex Bale is a satire channel, though. No, we're not doing a video that's over an hour long. I'm sorry. Alex Bale does appear in this video, though. Let's watch this one.
Alright, let's do this. Skin theory. Skin theory is quite possibly the largest rabbit hole related to SpongeBob ever, and if you're unaware of what exactly skin theory is, allow me to catch you up to speed. In short, skin theory is a theory which states that within the show SpongeBob SquarePants, there are a shockingly large amount of instances where the residents of Bikini Bottom are seen wearing and or removing the skin of other characters from the show, basically just wearing costumes of the other fish in Bikini Bottom. And skin theory also suggests that this behavior is not only accepted by, but is also deemed normal by, the citizens of Bikini Bottom. Now, this theory might sound outlandish to someone hearing about it for the first time, but I assure you, this theory actually has some merit to it. This theory
I think this is a world, a WWE
71-minute video presenting multiple pieces of evidence to support skin theory. Doug takes the viewer on a journey, first describing the basics of skin theory, presenting examples to back up his theory, coming up with reasons why this might be taking place in Bikini Bottom, and finally suggesting that this was all planted in the show by show creator Steven Hellenberg. The skin theory video was posted on April 20th, 2019, and in the time since has gained over 11 million views, becoming one of the most viewed SpongeBob conspiracy theories on all of YouTube. In fact, if you go to the skin theory video right now, there's most likely a comment from the last 24 hours from somebody discussing why they believe or don't believe skin theory. There's news articles, subreddits, and multiple video reactions to skin theory, with skin theory even earning a spot on the official SpongeBob SquarePants iceberg, thus making it, in my opinion at least, the most debated SpongeBob fan theory of all time. Just to give you guys more proof that skin theory is as big as I'm saying it is, I reached out to my close personal friend Alex Bale, the SpongeBob conspiracy theory guy, and asked him if he could give me some thoughts about skin theory from his perspective, since he's the leading authority in SpongeBob conspiracy theories. And here's what Alex had to say.
Hello, it's me, Alex Bale, the SpongeBob conspiracy guy, except not anymore. I'm all done with that. Stop asking me to make SpongeBob theories, please. So yeah, I remember when I first watched Skin Theory, this was before I ever made any SpongeBob theories of my own, and it was just kind of so stupid, but at the same time, completely engaging in a way that I've never seen before. I think the theory is not really meant to be taken super seriously, and it definitely falls apart if you think about it too much, but I don't think that really matters. You know, I don't think a fan theory necessarily always has to be super believable for it to be kind of compelling and interesting. There's just something about the idea that everyone in SpongeBob is secretly wearing fake skin for some reason that is just so genuine.
Do we want to mark off actually interesting and compelling theory? Am I getting tired? A little bit. I'm a little bit getting tired. But, like, I think let's mark off actually interesting and compelling theory. Let's do that. Oh, and I think I also have one. Let me see. Shouts out another theory / theorist if you have that one for featuring Alex Bale and also featuring the original guy that made Skin Theory.
And creepy.
You can mark that off as well.
Really refreshing about Skin Theory because there are just so many obvious cliche types of fan theories out there. So to have someone talk about something as weird and specific as Skin Theory for over an hour, it's really cool, and I think that's why people have connected with it so much and why people are still talking about it today. And it's definitely a big reason why I started making SpongeBob theories on my channel in the first place.
Now, I apologize in advance for being the guy who has to quote-unquote explain the joke, so if you want Skin Theory to remain that curious rabbit hole it's been for the last 5 to 6 years, you might want to skip this video. But trust me, I think you're going to be interested in the true backstory behind Skin Theory. Our story begins a few weeks ago while I was working on my video, Finding the Origins of Weird YouTube Videos, where I attempted to find the origins of some of my favorite YouTube videos ever, and originally, that video was supposed to feature a section about Skin Theory. So I started looking into the Skin Theory video, and what I ended up finding was so incredible that I decided I had to give it a video of its own. So if we visit the profile of the creator of Skin Theory, you'll see that there's only ever been 2 videos released on this channel, which is very surprising since this guy has well over 65,000 subscribers with tons of people wanting more content from him. Yet despite the obvious interest in more content, Doug never dropped another video, and
fucking get him, Doodle Bob. Jesus Christ.
From YouTube. As the kids would say, bro dropped Skin Theory and dipped. The only thing I could find from Doug posting after Skin Theory was one single comment he left on the video. In this comment, Doug thanks everyone for watching and confirms he only ever posted the video to archive it for himself and his friends. He also confirmed that despite his newfound success on YouTube, he had no plans of releasing another video, although said you never know if that could change down the line. He ended the comment with a few words which is very interesting to our story. If you can't tell whether Skin Theory was meant as satire or not, good. Now this line suggests that the entire Skin Theory...
If you haven't marked it on your bingo card yet, because I think it came up earlier, make sure you've marked Schrodinger's satire for that one.
Video is satire, as why would someone even hint at a video being satire if it was something they truly believed and were representing wholeheartedly? And this comment has led many to theorize that Skin Theory is actually meant as a parody of the pointless video essays riddled throughout YouTube, much like the one you're watching right now. Perhaps Doug was just trying to make a point about these unnecessary videos, and maybe the entire video is just a joke on the viewer. And of course, this comment alone might seem like enough for us to write off this entire thing as satire, but that's not good enough. It's not enough for us to end this video with a theory about a theory. No. We need to find the man behind Skin Theory and get them to finally answer once and for all, why did he make this video? And does he actually believe in Skin Theory? So, I set out to find Doug. So as stated before, the Doug Wolliver channel itself offered little to nothing in terms of information about Doug. The only other thing that this channel does offer was another video uploaded to the profile named The G-Man. The G-Man is a documentary about YouTuber G-Man Mods, a video game console modder who specialized in creating portable video game consoles. Now this video does offer a few small hints about the creator of Skin Theory, most importantly, that our creator was indeed a man named Doug Wolliver. This video also shows us that Doug is well aware of how to structure a good documentary and how to make a YouTube video interesting. Now that I knew that Doug Wolliver was an actual name, as opposed to some fake username, I began searching for him. I ended up finding an Instagram page for a man with the same name, and when I...
Dude, you are doing too much. What the fuck is wrong with you? Getting way too personal. Ew. Gross. Don't do that.
Lurked his profile, I was able to confirm that this was the right guy from a Skin Theory reference in one of his captions. So I shot Doug a message asking him if I could ask him a few questions about Skin Theory. And just a few hours later, I got a response. Doug jokingly said that he could possibly be the guy who created the video and asked me what questions I had. So I responded with a few questions, such as why he never made any more videos, his reaction to the success of Skin Theory, but most importantly, how much of Skin Theory did Doug truly believe? So I sat there waiting for the exciting answer to this mystery I had been searching for the last few days. I was excited to finally learn the truth from the man himself. However, there was one small issue.
It's been like 2-3 days, and Doug has not responded to the messages. I'm not surprised, because, I mean, it's his big video, you know, and it has an air of mystery around it, so why would he respond and, you know, let me peek behind the curtain, if you will?
Well, yeah, he very specifically said that
he hasn't responded yet, though.
Didn't want to
As
respond.
Of 2 to 3 days later, Doug hadn't responded to my questions.
Like,
now, in no
that
way
was
did I
the
hold
point
this
that we
against him
weren't
because
supposed
first
to
off,
know.
no one has to talk to me. I understand that
Oh my
fully. But
God.
secondly, I believed he hadn't responded because the video already has an air of mystery surrounding it, so he probably just wanted to keep it that way. At this point, I truly felt as if I would never hear back from Doug. So without
Yeah,
Doug
this is
being involved in this
parasocial.
video, I needed
Gross.
to look elsewhere for any clues towards the truth behind skin theory. I ended up finding Doug's Twitter page, which actually featured several
I wonder how Alex felt about that bit
about
as
skin
well.
theory, some of
If
which
he knew
hinted
that he
again
was
at the
going
fact
to
that
approach
the
him
entire
like
video was
this.
satire. However, this was all I was able to find. Nothing online which could outright say how Doug truly felt about skin theory that I could find was out there. I started thinking that the truth behind the skin theory video and skin theory itself was never going to be found. I was very close to giving up on this entire story, but then something unexpected happened. 7 days after my initial messages to Doug had randomly sent me another message, and that message read as follows. Okay, sure. Here's some answers to your questions. I apologize in advance,
he did answer.
they're probably not as exciting as you may
Alright.
have been hoping for. What followed was an extended message which laid out everything, from why he made the video, where the theory came from, and ultimately, did he believe in skin theory? So, ladies and gentlemen, here is his full, uncut response. Short answers, no. I don't honestly believe skin theory is factually true. No, I also didn't create it as a parody or critique of video essays. Above all, I made skin theory because it was fun to research, write, and edit. Long answers. Do I honestly believe Steven Hellenberg and the SpongeBob writers intentionally hid skin theory related messages in the show? No. I think they were having fun writing and they followed their creative impulse to extreme lengths. They were geniuses and visionaries and I have so much respect for them.
Overanalyze the comedic elements if you want to throw that in there, by the way.
The content of SpongeBob is surreal,
If you haven't marked it
unique,
already.
and unconstrained. There are tons of non sequiturs which mean nothing in the grand scheme of the show, but I believe the sheer irrelevance and unexpected direction some of the jokes go in is also a key component of what makes them so funny. When the show is this surreal and creative, I believe you could pick out examples to support almost any theory if you yourself are creative enough and invest enough time searching. Did I make this video as a parody / satire of video essays / conspiracy theories? Not really. I'd say it was more of an homage or just a personal exercise. I watched a ton of YouTube video essays, and I still do, so I feel like I have a very firm grasp of the genre, if you call it a genre. I think they're absolutely fantastic. One of the best things the internet has to offer.
Oh my
They're
God.
free to watch. You can find them on almost any topic imaginable, and they have a super low barrier for entry. I set out to make a video that I would have personally enjoyed watching. But more importantly, I also set out to make a video that would have made myself question if the content actually was true. The video essays that get me thinking about them for a few days after are always the ones I like the most. So I researched extremely hard and spent tons of times rewriting and restructuring and re-recording to make it as convincing as possible. As for where the actual theory itself originated, I came up with that on my own while under the influence and watching SpongeBob with a small group of friends. We watched the Salmon Suit episode and that moment suddenly struck me as incredibly surreal. From there, we watched a few more episodes and I kept finding examples that drove me crazy. I tried explaining to my friends, but they didn't believe there was anything unusual going on. A few months later, I created a PowerPoint presentation with a few examples to present to them as sort of a running joke. The PowerPoint went so well and was so fun to make that about a year later, I decided to turn it into a video. After I premiered the video to my friends, I uploaded it to my personal YouTube channel for safekeeping and nothing more. When the video blew up, I was surprised in some ways, but not surprised in others. I always knew the video was high quality, and I could see how many views other video essays of similar content / quality received, so I never doubted that it was worth tons of views. However, I never expected it to actually get all those views because I didn't do promotion for it and I uploaded it to my personal channel, which had 0 subscribers and practically no other videos. The funniest part was how the video sat on my channel for several months with almost no traffic at all until the algorithm somehow came across it, at which point it exploded into millions of views over a few weeks. If I had known it would blow up so big, I definitely would have uploaded it to some other throwaway account with a different name. I don't love all the attention I get, and I don't love how so many random people know my full name / how to find me on social media. I never created another video because I haven't come up with another idea of that same quality.
Yeah, take the hint, Mr. Kobe. Jesus.
I have some vague ideas that might make a decent video, but nothing good enough. Most importantly, nothing has come up which seems like it would have been tremendously fun to explore / research / edit. The fun I had sitting alone making it was the only reason I survived making Skin Theory in the first place. First things first, thank you to Doug for the extremely detailed response which leaves no stone unturned, and ultimately confirming once and for all that Skin Theory was basically just something he made up for fun. However, me saying he made it up doesn't do what he did justice. Despite being nothing more than a silly idea he was able to put so much thought and effort into Skin Theory that people are still debating if it's true or not 5 years after its creation. Hell, Doug was so convincing in his argument that even with this video, and Doug himself saying that he doesn't actually believe Skin Theory, people will most likely continue defending
This man
Skin Theory.
just wants to be left alone.
Apologize to Doug for using his name multiple times throughout this video, as he's obviously not the biggest fan of his full name being known. Apologize to Doug for using Skin Theory. People will most likely continue defending Skin Theory. And let me take this chance to formally apologize to Doug for using his name multiple times throughout this video, as he's obviously not the biggest fan of his full name being known and available to everyone on.
Okay, but like if you knew that, like this is you could have still you were still editing the video when you realized that. So why do it anyway?
The internet. So if you're watching this, leave that man alone. I know not everyone will take heed to my disclaimer, so at the very least, be chill to the guy as he didn't ask for this attention. As for the SpongeBob community, it feels good to finally bring an answer to this conspiracy once and for all. But I do feel bad that the answer itself is nothing more than this conspiracy being based on a video creator's limitless imagination. But I feel as if this answer shouldn't sway people in the SpongeBob conspiracy theory community, and instead, it should inspire. So if you, the viewer, have your own conspiracy about SpongeBob, or really anything for that matter, do some research and gather some evidence. And maybe you can find something deeper. But the fact of the matter is that you drank the Kool-Aid of a man who knew what he was serving was poison. But he made that poison look so irresistible that you couldn't help but drink it. I guess it's up to you now to decide for yourself if you look at what you drank as poison or as Kool-Aid. Basically what I'm saying is, does the fact that Skin Theory is fake change anything? Or was this entire ride and the destination over these last 5 years?
What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
But I do know one thing that is worth it. My brand new merch store! 11K.
I don't even know what to say. Let's see. What are some things? Did we check off Cinema Sins tier nitpicking? We did. If you haven't checked it off yet, make sure you checked it off. Did anybody get bingo? Let's see. Oh, reheated leftovers, I would say. For this one, for Skin Theory. Character is secretly evil for the mom from Cloudy with a Chance of Meat Lovers. I don't think I had that one. Cloudy with a Chance of Meat Lovers? Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. My bad. I really want pizza, I guess. I think the pizza place I go to now is closed. Character has a mental illness or disorder. They don't. Make sure you check that one off for Pyro. Let's see, what else? What else? know if it counts as a spite theory. Because it was like a love letter to theory, so. Ooh, there we go. Overanalyzing age. There we go. That's a good one for ooh, Fiona got bingo. Let's go. I'm gonna continue going through this. But yeah, overanalyzing age definitely for the Avatar theory. Shout out to another theory / theorist. I think we already had that one. Anyway, congratulations to That Guy Is Shy for getting bingo. I didn't get it, unfortunately. I think I see which one is Fiona. It was boob theory, character has mental illness or disorder, they don't. The free space, making more work for themselves by converting to the imperial system, and analyzing comedic element. That looks like what Fiona's card was. Yes, that was very fun. I think that will be all for today. I think this stream's gone on for, oh my god, it's almost 11 o'clock for me, and I started, yeah, this is like a 5-hour stream. Jesus Christ. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. And thank you to my patrons: Paige Lego, Harvey, Hummus, Mohammed, Lee Skilly, Fiona, Boggle, Somnium Astra, Dylan Rune, and Zephyr, Vex Fidel, Elias Testinian, Swamping Lover, Garden Knot, and Daily. And a special thanks to my staff, Martha Squeakers, Boggle, and Sparrow, and as well Paige and Dylan Rune, who I have not put up here yet. Whoops. And if you would like to join my Discord, you can find a link in the description to my Patreon down below. You can join for as little as $1 a month. We have movie nights and game nights, and we chat a lot. It's a very active Discord server. We would love to have you. And make sure you follow me on the social media and support me in the freeway by liking, commenting, and subscribing. I will see y'all later. Have a great week. Bye-bye.